Hello, Internet. Welcome to Shenanigoons. I am Angela, your DM for the evening, as we continue the Book of Faebles, that semi-fairytale D&D campaign where you contribute to the chaos. How are you doing, players?
Doing good.
We've got a new subscriber.
Yeah, pretty good overall.
Wonderful to hear. Wonderful.
Late day at work, hence the very different look for Beza tonight.
Elegant casual. I like it. All right, everybody. So hope y'all are having a wonderful Tuesday night. We are ready to continue with chapter 15 of our story, Crimini Intent. Can't wait till we... Nah, I love the mushroom puns. What am I talking about? We're still in the town of Chanterelle, the elegant sort of underground goblin and orc city, in the great island of Cronus, which we have a name for now. I'm very excited by that fact. And we'll do a very tiny recap once we get a couple of things out of the way. So if you're looking around here on the stream layout, you might notice a few things, namely that we are part of the Nerdsmith Network. You can find out more about us at nerdsmith.org. We have a lot of really cool things coming down the pipe soon, including a merch store. We're working on it. We're getting it done. We're getting it done, y'all.
It's happening. It's happening. Hi, we've got a new subscriber.
Thank you for the subscription. And we actually that's oh, it's you two. Thank you, Heather and Kyle, for continuing to support the network. Absolutely no ulterior motive whatsoever for doing so.
None.
But that is a good reminder that if you are watching the show and you'd like to support us and you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can toss that Prime subscription our way for no extra cost to you, giving us a month of support, which is really, really awesome and very generous if you'd like to share. But if you'd also like to support the network and you like what you see tonight, you can find us at Patreon, patreon.com/nerdsmith, where we put lots of bonus content and things for you to check out. And there will be more things coming in the future. We are very excited by this. We are also the only reason, well, one of the only reasons that we are able to keep the lights on and continue doing what we're doing so wonderfully is that we are supported by a couple of amazing companies run by some amazing people. First of all, we are here at Shenanigoons sponsored by Eldritch Foundry. Eldritch Foundry is a wonderful fantasy miniature design website where you can actually get 3D printed copies of your figurines that you design, as well as digital copies like top-down images for maps and tokens like you see here on our stream layout. Our players all designed their characters for stream, and one of our bonus contents that's going to be coming up this month is access to the complete models on Eldritch Foundry, so you can check them out and see what these players look like. See what the characters look. Still not great because the sentence ends with "from the neck down." It just you see what they're wearing and like the weapons
In
that they're
their
using.
entirety.
See a full yeah. You get to see the characters' complete art. How about that? That's better. That's good.
Outfit?
That's good. Yeah, it's fine.
This outfit's outfit?
Yeah, it's fine. And look at that, D&D with the Banana Brothers just wrapped. Hello, Kajari's channel and viewers. We are also sponsored by World ANVIL. World ANVIL is an incredible campaign management and world building suite that will help you, whether you run campaigns or write novels or any sort of creative endeavor in which you like to make characters and a repository of knowledge. You can share that with your readers and your players on worldanvil.com. You should definitely check them out. They're constantly coming up with new features, and they are a very vibrant community of creative and kind folks. You should definitely go right now. You can try it for free. A lot of really amazing features, and if you decide you want to support them and you'd like customization options like custom URLs and things like that, you can actually, in styling, some really cool styling, you can do so by becoming a guild member. Guild members get a lot of say in how the site progresses as it develops, so you should definitely consider that. Finally, Tessa.
Yes.
How you doing? You want to talk
good.
about our last sponsor, please?
Sure. Kyle, can you do me a quick favor?
Yeah, what's up?
Please roll me a d10.
I can, what? Okay.
It's D&D, Kyle. How'd you not have your dice ready?
I got a 1.
All right.
Wow.
Oliette. Chris, roll me another d10.
Oh, no.
That's a 4.
Excellent. And Heather, roll me one more d10.
Oh, no.
The scene is coming and grabbed my D10 before you said that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 2.
That's a 2? Okay, so on the back of my lovely little Die Hard dice insert from this box, dice, the Shakespearean insult generator, which we have generated, is you goatish, hedgeborn boar pig. Is that like a man bear pig then?
Goatish, hedgeborn, goat. Write that, say that again.
Goatish, hedgeborn boar pig.
Boar pig. And we
I
have
thought you
our
said
first
boar
combat
pig.
for tonight.
Oh, lovely.
No, just kidding.
So-
but I will try to figure out how to include that in
One of my favorite things about Die Hard Dice is that on their little inserts, they have fun things that you can do. Sometimes they are holiday generators, sometimes they are Shakespearean insult generators, and sometimes they're little pieces of maps that I have seen from time to time. Well, I can talk. But the more important thing that was in that box is the Mythica Platinum Aquamarine
they're so pretty.
set, which we will be giving away on this channel on February 23rd. So be sure to be here on February 23rd at 7 p.m. for your chance to win this lovely set of dice. And it is open to everyone, regardless of if you are a Nerdsmith creator or not. Even directors are eligible to win this lovely set.
Be there or be click-clack math rockless.
Indeed. But if you don't want to wait that long for your very own set, you can go to dieharddice.com and use the coupon code nerdsmith-feb for February to purchase your very own set at 10% off. Or 10% off your entire order, regardless of which shiny click-clack math rocks you decide to get. So,
Well, how many people have I directed over to Die Hard and they've bought way more than just one set because it's too pretty.
They have some new sets that are project dice where you can ink them yourself.
Those are great.
The honey ones, I want them. They're so pretty. So they're very lovely. But you should definitely go to Die Hard Dice, check out their offerings, and treat yourself and roll with the best.
And roll with the kitty.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see a tech gremlin on your screen.
Oh, it's okay. The tech gremlin is not in the computer. As long as it's in front of the computer, we're fine.
That's right. She is currently batting at Angela's face on my monitor to say hello.
Hello. Okay, so let us discuss what happened last episode. So, previously on the Book of Fables, the party was still in the city of Chanterelle, but they were making their way out of the farmlands where Paru's family were back to the city, where they decided to shack up. They go hang out with Keturah Youngtaker, the half-orc arm wrestling champion who they met previously at the bar. At the local tavern, and they did a couple things on the way. So first of all, they had a very coincidental run-in with an elven man named Kjell. He was a professor of some sort, a sweater daddy, if you will. That's what he'd been called for multiple episodes. And Kjell seemed to be also a professional associate of Professor Markel von Hammerford Schmidt, the goblin professor who they had met previously underground with a machine to tunnel under the walls of the chronograms and chronikers. He was staying at Dr. Professor Markel von Hammerford, but yes, she has a doctorate and a PhD. She likes to, they're the same thing, but she likes to differentiate them. And Kjell was staying at her place as he was doing some research locally. But a little prodding got you to understand that he was doing some research on the nature of the chaos energies that apparently had been the whole reason that the celestial nirvana of Mechanist had colonized the island here in the first place. So he also seemed a little cagey about it. Not necessarily to you, but towards the Mechanist residents who were patrolling the streets and trying to, which was the second thing I wanted to bring up, reinforce a curfew that was happening.
Well, that's right.
And you all got to Kat's McMansion, but in time for the curfew. You also met a few of Kat's entourage, her friends, her clingers on, including her former trainer, a large half-orc man named... no, you met her butler, Jago. And then you met Bog, her trainer, the large half-orc with a single tusk. You met... I don't remember what he was. No, somebody. You met a very adorable bugbear, lanky bugbear, and you met Raffida von Meeks, Admiral Raffida von Meeks, a goblin who caused a lot of trouble and was delightful. And as you were all hanging out, much to the dismay of your party for a moment, and much to Kyle's amusement as he contributed to the chaos last week, a wizard inside a gelatinous cube sworn to defeat Cat in some sort of one-sided nemesis relationship tried to attack you all, and you thoroughly trounced him with fire. In lots of places, fire would be unpleasant to be.
And shame.
What?
And shame.
And shame, yes, and shame. Afterwards, you all hung out in her gigantic spa bathroom place. That's very cool. And it seemed that Harland asked Kat on a little bit of a date, and they went on a little date. And the little date was very nice. And by the end of the date, it was very nice and very platonic, which was very sweet. They both sort of agreed that though sparks did not fly, they were still in very good, friendly terms with each other. And he went to bed after a nice night of dinner and ice cream, which I also just had.
Did you have cold pizza and ice cream?
No, I didn't. I didn't have cold pizza and ice cream. Anyway, y'all went to bed. It was spied on by Beza and Paru, though.
Oh, absolutely.
So they saw a good chunk of it and did impart to Oliet that Harland and Oliet have had a weird little rapport lately since their uninformed kiss happened. Harland being the uninformed one in that situation. Not on purpose. And so the rest of you went to sleep. So that is where we are. Y'all sleeping in this very nice house.
Very nice house. Yeah, she's rich.
Yes. Sorry, I control the music now.
She does. Beware. That's actually probably better because you know when you want dramatic cues to happen.
It's true. Who has the highest passive perception? I wonder.
That's me, I think.
Haru.
With a 15.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's a 12.
Mine's the lowest.
That's fine. Paru,
Mm-hmm.
you wake up to some noise. You think, well, you know, they have to fix the giant hole that the Kool-Aid cube left.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, no, that's not the noise you're hearing.
Okay. Uh-oh.
You're hearing a little bit of distant rattling. You're hearing some shouting and some clanking and some roaring. It's a very unpleasant noises. And you kind of shudder a little bit awake. and get out of bed, shuffle over to the window, look out into the view that you have of Chanterelle. And you hear, well, you see flames first. Oh, that audio cue. Sometimes it's just so perfect. You see flames, then you hear the sounds of what you could only assume is rioting or fighting, some sort of combat happening. It's a little far away from where you are, though. Looks closer to the entrance to the cavern. But it is a bit of a scuffle going on in the distance. What do you do?
Up. Everybody up. Now, come on.
What?
The city's on fire.
What's on fire?
The city is on fire. Something's going on. There's clanking and rioting. It sounds like a big kerfluffle's going on. I gotta go get Kat. And she just, like, skids down the hallway.
You start running.
Mm-hmm.
Oliette, you're like,
I'm like peeling the cucumbers off of my eyes, like, what the fuck?
Oh my god. As you're doing that, Oliette, you hear a voice in your head. The bookkeeper thought it might be best to retreat for now and be prepared for what is coming.
Wait. Oh, the concussion. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm just gonna borrow. Wait, come back.
No, just as she runs, you all feel a very sudden sensation of falling.
Oh.
Like stumbling in your sleep. And when you sort of stop, you catch yourself, you are in the Queen's throne room.
Did we leave all our stuff at Kat's house?
Anything you... good question. Whatever you weren't wearing is...
Well, drat.
Fuck.
I got
Does that
this nice
include your
monogram
book?
bathrobe, and that's about it.
Well, no, but it does include my tour that the Yeti gave me. Oh god. Okay.
You're all in the Queen's throne room, and Her Majesty of the Word is standing at the pedestal in the middle of the throne room. You're in her throne room. All stark concrete. Very judicial looking, except for the fireplace. And she looks up from her book, seeing that you have all arrived. And Oliette, you know her better than the others. There's just a tiny hint of a relief on her face when you all show up. She looks between all of you. Some of you are wearing bathrobes, monogrammed with Katura Youngtaker's initials. I'm not gonna question that. And she looks to you all. Sorry if I interrupted.
60 extra seconds of heads up would have been, but
apologies, it's not always
okay.
easy to tell what is going on your side.
That's fair.
Except in the grand scheme.
What's happening? What is happening right now?
It came to our attention you were in imminent peril, and perhaps a bit of extra training would be in order.
Are you talking about the jelly cube? We took care of that. That was like, it was like this weaselly, like, it was nothing.
I think she's
No,
referring
dear
to the fire.
Paru.
The fire and the rioting.
Oh, right.
Pyro does have her. I think Pyro did probably grab her satchel to go grab Kat because she was awake. So that's probably. I mean,
Sure.
It's only got the Baba Yaga tea set in it. It's not much, but
That's fine.
Yeah.
Paru, Her Majesty of the Word is looking at you. And as a reminder to all of you, Her Majesty the Word, this very tall elven woman in a lace, almost like a wedding gown, but a little less a little less soft, a little more sharp. Long blonde hair, very long ears. She's got very somewhat stern, a little sharp in feature. I know what you saw, Paro.
So, is there any indication of what we were about to face? Because that would have been nice to know that we just left a bunch of newly acquaintanced folk back there in
When
imminent
you
danger.
went back the first time, how much time had passed?
3 days. No, sorry, couple hours.
So
2
we'll be
hours?
back in no time, is what you're saying.
Theoretically. One would hope. We'll do our best.
Well, all right then.
All right, so, like, what kind of training are we going to be doing today?
That's whatever your liege requires of you, or suggests. Therefore, you should probably disperse quickly.
Yes, Your Majesty.
All
Best
right,
of luck.
see you guys later.
Be safe.
I'll just turn and
We'll
wave to y'all as you
reconvene.
leave.
We'll reconvene sooner than last time.
Okay.
See you soon.
Well, all right. Stay safe, everybody.
And you
Mhm.
all are escorted to doorways that would lead you to your specific queen's. Wow, calm down. Music. You're not like in trouble, so I really should calm down the music a little bit. Hold on. Let me make this a little less intense.
Dun-dun.
How
fine,
long
it's fine.
have we been gone from this realm, Your Majesty? Has it been the same amount? Has it only been? Well, it was what we were back for like a week, right? So far.
It is hard to gauge in concrete ways. You have not been gone terribly long, but it might be a little longer than you think.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. And so you all leave. Olia, you're left with Her Majesty the Word. And she returns to her book. She walks up to the pedestal for a moment and just kind of looks through it. Your missives have been less than glad tidings.
Well, situation changed very quickly, and not for the better, I don't think. Have you heard from the Queen of the Trade? Does she know what's going on?
She indicated that Verlaine had done everything asked of him, that he was abiding by his training. They hadn't shown any signs of whatever's happening now.
Well, had I a bit longer, I would have grabbed something to show you.
What?
Well, I don't have any of the evidence with me now, but it's really odd. It's like they're using. I mean, we've been attacked several times in the last week. I think Paru's almost died like twice. It's getting out of hand.
Well, we'll see if her lady cannot assist in preventing.
It's not anything Paru's doing wrong. It's like an onslaught. It's never ending, and they have something to do with it. I know that they do. They keep leaving these little clues. I don't know if it's intentionally or not. I don't know.
Well, I am sorry for if this means the loss of your friend. One hopes not, but when evidence is presented.
Yeah. Okay, so what do we do now?
We make you a little stronger. As best we can for now.
Okay.
And as a heads up to the others, we're gonna do a little scene montage based on your level. You're gonna level.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about what you do, what you train with, what you learn. And I don't recall offhand if this is just an ability score level or if this is a thing where you get features or new spells, or I think several of you are going to get new stuff.
Yeah, I think a couple of us get
But-
some new stuff, but yeah.
So, obviously, Chris, you can take a minute if you need to look at your. I should have really warned you before. I forgot to. But you each take a little bit of a little time with each of your queens, and you have some opportunities to do anything that you might need to do that are outside of the scope of your training. We will say you are probably here for a solid week or two. Just a sense of how long you're committed to this this intensive training. Very specialized, very concentrated. Is there anything while people are looking at leveling information? Is there anything outside of training that you would like to do while you are here in the Book of Faebles?
I want to research the Baba Yaga while I'm here and see if there's any information now that I have the correct name.
Sure. Okay.
We are just going to level 4, right?
Mm-hmm. You're leveling once. Okay. So,
I do have one thing.
yeah, Tessa, we will roll your thing, but go ahead. What do you want to do, Harland?
I am looking up like leveling stuff, but Harland, I think, would want to meet with, given recent events, I think he would want to meet with the respective presidents of the Harlequins and Harlots, just to like have a tete-a-tete.
Okay, hold on. I wasn't prepared for that, but let me get prepared.
I'm delighted.
Okay.
And I definitely want to see Sniffs too, if that's possible.
Of course it is. It is absolutely possible. All right. So, I'll get going on finding the presidents of the Harlot and Harlequin groups. What is it? Yeah, okay.
When you get to me, since you're flipping back there, I need to go see my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go see my squad at least once, and then whatever time is not spent training, I'm actually going to try to get. I'm trying to retrace Valane's last steps when they were here. So going to see the Queen of the Trade.
Okay.
Asking about what the final stages of their training was, trying to figure out if they might have interacted with, like literally following the trail. So those are the two things I would do besides training.
All right, so let me make notes here about what we're going to be doing tonight. So Harlequins and Harlots, visiting the mushrooms, Queen of the Trade, and retracing Valane's steps. Beza, is there anything that you would like to do besides just training? You want to bond with people or
training? I think she definitely wants to spend some time with Sir Tuscandale for sure.
Sure.
And with the Queen. Also, I have she has something she wants to give to the hunters. I think in her downtime, she's been carving on some of the horn pieces and things, and she's made them all a little something.
Sure.
They're probably not perfect.
Oh, they'll be delighted. They're like a bunch of like a bunch of aunts and uncles. They're very excited to have like, oh, she made us something. Here, have a beer.
Yeah. Well, she'll be like, I actually tried alcohol for the first time.
We're so proud. Crying. It's very Sir Tuskendale, very different motivation. Okay. So, and then you were gonna research the Baba Yaga. I'll tell you what, this sounds like a whole episode worth of stuff.
Yeah.
I will say too, if Harland told her he was going to go searching for information on what happened to Villain and he wanted a second person, she would go with him for that too.
All right.
I don't know that she would think of it on her own, but if he was like, hey, another person would be helpful, she would go.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, we have I have found your presidents.
I'm delighted by this.
I'm very excited by the two of them too. So, Harland, I don't know, the torches of Gondor get lit, and the fan club groupies show up at let's say at Her Majesty of the Folk's tavern throne room.
It's best that we meet there. It's neutral territory.
Yeah. So, do you just want to meet with the presidents, or do you want to meet with their councils, like their officers, like the secretary and the treasurer, and them?
I will say that I trust them to relay the
Okay. It's up to you.
Their secretaries might be nice.
Okay.
Because they'll take minutes.
Sure.
I love how organized they are.
Oh, of course they are. Each of them have newsletters.
They have to collect dues somehow.
Yeah, exactly. So
they have street teams.
Yeah, they have street teams.
Handing out stickers and patches,
This makes me so happy, just in case anyone else.
I'm gonna need to get one and put it on my vest now. Like, make a Harlequin or a harlot patch, and then add it to the Goonies vest that is happening.
100%.
I'll work on designing them.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. If anyone else DMs, you know how important it is to have a character inspiration Pinterest board in which you can just scroll to find characters, because you're just looking at pretty pictures.
Yep.
And that is what I'm doing right now. So, Harland, you have a number of folks that arrive at Her Majesty of the Folk at her tavern. You have a very squat young lady who has a little suit of armor and a little pointy hat, and on top of the hat is a little frog, and she opens the door and comes in. You suspect she's like a halfling of some kind. And I will, for the sake of the players, I will be putting pictures.
I love them.
And following that person, you see a satyr, a sort of a blue-skinned satyr, masculine presenting, kind of rakish, but nice. Seems like he's a pleasant enough fellow. And then you see that these are the Harlequins. No, these are the Harlequins. And then the harlots, you see first walking through a little cat-like gremlin creature with little glasses on their head. And following this little creature who's about the size up to your knee, another satyr, a woman with gray skin, vibrant, bright hair, gorgeous. She is the president of the harlots. And so the very squat, armored young lady and the woman in the black dress with the red hair walk up into basically take the lead as the two others walk behind them with either a scroll or a book. They each have like a different way of taking notes, and they come right up to you, Harland, and the little squat one. You would know. I will name them as we talk because I didn't prepare for
The halfling's name is
your
Mishka.
Mishka. Okay, so
Yeah.
you know Mishka. Thank you. You please feel free to name. And so the halfling Mishka comes up to you, hand straight out, big glove, looking to shake your hand, like, "Oh, it is so nice to see you, Harland. You've been gone for ages." And just
Well, it's
shaking
mighty
hands.
nice to see you again too, Mishka.
Oh, and she gets all blushy.
Have you been
And-
holding down the fort while I've been gone?
Oh,
Wink.
absolutely. Absolutely. The newsletter has not once failed to get an issue out. And
You
then
know how important that newsletter is to me. That it provide up-to-date and accurate information as to the goings on of myself for my.
I mean, it's very important to have an accurate logging of your adventures. You're busy doing the adventures. You can't just expect to remember everything that's happening. Says the DM, who
Yeah.
loves having Heather in the party. And then
Mishka
we'll read it.
the Harlequins or the Harlots?
Mishka is the president of the Harlequins. Solara is the president of the Harlots, and she comes up to you and looks for a hug.
Well, how you doing, Sel? How you doing?
Oh, please,
good
it's
to see you.
Solara, but it's wonderful to see you,
'Cause
Harlan.
I keep trying to give you a nickname, and it just doesn't stick. So that's just
Oh.
fine.
Well, you'll find one eventually. And she she's got a little bit of a sway to her dress as she's walking, and when
Yeah.
she sits, she like kicks her knee up and sort of like it's very performative the way she kind of like sits in her chair, and
Yeah, it
Mishka
is.
kind of has to climb up into the seat, and takes her hat off, and she's got a big curly mesh of hair. And they both sit there, and their two scribes, the little cat folk and the blue satyr. The cat folk is Mal, and secretary of the harlots, and the not tiefling. He looks like a tiefling. That is Cody. Codhi. It's Cody. It's fine. And they sit down, and Solara chimes up after you all get drinks. Her Majesty the Folk comes by because she basically pseudo acts as a tavern maid sometimes, looking to get you all drinks. And Harlan, would you like a refill of what you're enjoying right now?
Sure. If I could get one of those pear ciders that you have, that would be mighty
Of
fine.
course, I keep them all in stock for you. And
If you could, float it, float a little bit of that stout on top of that, that'd be mighty fine.
oh, you mean a snake bite?
Or black velvet, depends on where you come from.
The Yuan-Ti goddess of the folk smirks a little when she says snakebite, and I've got you covered. Don't worry about it, love. And she wanders over to the bar to go set some stuff up for you all. And the harlots and harlequins all look to you, Harland, and Solara chimes in first. So, I mean, not that we're not delighted that you contacted us, Harlan, but what exactly can we do for you?
Well, I just thought that I'd update you on things that are happening since I departed the realm of Her Majesty the Folk.
Cody, make sure you're taking good notes. Mishka's like, oh, please tell us everything.
Well, Paru got got real smashed a little bit. And I think that she has the hots for my sister.
Physically, or imbibing
Yes,
until she got smashed. Sorry,
Both.
little Jovi.
and,
That's good.
and so I threw a tractor at the thing that did it.
They all go. They all gasp a little. They hang on your every word, Harlan. Welcome, Raiders. Thank you for the raid. Come watch the Harlan Simps.
And well, then I got into an arm wrestling contest.
Which I'm sure you won. Of course. And
In certain ways, of course I did. I won the acquaintanceship of the resident champion.
Solara gets a little like, oh, and what were they like?
Well, she's a bit of a mercenary, I think. Real good arm wrestler. Likes cold pizza. She's a nice sort. Great bathroom.
Okay. You just watch as Cody and I'm trying to make it sound special, but it's just fucking Cody. And Mal are furiously writing notes. And Mishka goes, no, but go back to Paru. You say she likes your sister. Does your sister like you?
I'm not sure how my sister feels. She's always been a little hard for me to read, but Paru seems real eager to get back to the farm. Perhaps to do some plowing, if I'm not mistaken.
Solara has this bright little laugh, and Mishka's like, "Oh, I ship it."
Yeah. Well, that's about all I got.
You watch as Mal the cat has started sketching really quickly Paru and Harland, except like with a bow in his hair, and he's trying really hard to like just figure out what your sister looks like. It's just you.
Beard and everything.
Mal doesn't know what female furbolgs look like. Just a good
I almost forgot to mention. We've been fighting some weird ink paper golem things. I'm not real sure
Mal looks up.
they
I
are.
didn't do it.
I wasn't accusing. I was simply stating that we've run afoul of a couple of them at this point, and if y'all could put some feelers out as far as if this kind of thing has been seen before, where it might, like, send out the network, find out if anybody's seen this kind of thing or heard of this kind of thing before.
Sure. They've been awfully bored since you've left town.
I have no doubt.
I'm sure they would be happy to assist in this very important mission.
It is a mission of dire importance that I would trust to no one else.
Oh. And Mishka blushes a little bit, and Solara is like, "Oh, you flatter us too much, Harland, but I'll accept it."
Or is it just enough?
Is there anything else you want to tell us? Oh,
That
how do things go with this arm wrestler?
Fine. She's very nice, and I think we have struck up a beautiful friendship.
As you say that, even the ones that weren't overly tense seem to relax a little bit when you say that. And Solara sort of finally grabs her drink, and she goes, "Oh, well, friendship is a beautiful thing." And she sort of slowly drinks.
It is vastly underrated.
Oh, I agree, Harland. Mishka's a little bit of a yes gnome. She's a halfling, though. Doesn't really make sense. She's president of the fan club, Chris. Of course she's thirsty. It's the requirement. It's the eligibility requirement. That's the first check.
On a scale of Mariana Trench to Sahara Desert, how thirsty are you?
Well, do you tell them anything else, Harlan? Any other developments?
There's one that's percolating in the back of my brain, and I'm not quite sure how to address it.
Do you let them get a couple drinks in before you address it?
Oh yes, oh yes.
Okay. Sure.
Drop the bomb, soften the blow.
Yeah. I gotcha. Let me get my Die Hard dice tray out for that.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Oh well. Who pick one of the people at the table?
Mal.
Mal is drinking a lot and seems absolutely unaffected by the alcohol. He rolled a natural 20. Pick another member of the group.
Let's go ahead and go with Mishka.
Mishka is fucking guttered.
Oh no.
Pick another member.
Cody.
Cody's doing okay. His handwriting's getting a little sloppy.
And Solara.
Solara is also very pink in the face.
Oh no.
So
this is
I guess the question now is what kind of drunk.
At least it's accurate.
Well, they're keeping tabs on you. The writers are writing, so they're only drinking a little bit at a time. The presidents are in conversation with you. They are matching you drink for drink, it seems. So as Mishka's just like, tell me again about how you slew the paper dragon. And
that was Beza.
But you were there.
Who was that? Was that Oliette?
I believe it was Oliette.
I think it was Oliette.
She doesn't remember. She doesn't like to admit she's wrong though. So she's very.
It was one of them. I don't think that I've struck the killing blow once, which is fine by me. I'm more there to help.
Oh, but you wear them down. I'm sure. I'm sure you're very impressive.
I can wear lots of things down. I needed new shoes all the time when I was growing up. Just wore right through the soles.
Oh, that's. Mishka reaches out for your hand. That must have been so hard.
Yeah, I mean, you know what they say about furbolgs with big feet, right? Is that we constantly got to be getting new shoes.
That's very wise. And so when do you break it to them? When do you say this last thing? Or let's just skip to when you say this last thing. Let's just do that.
So I kiss someone.
There's a mix of actual what those gasps sound like. You have a mix of like and a mix of there's pearl clutching and like squee. You can choose who to pay attention to with that, and I'm sure you can guess who. And the whole table is agog with "Tell me more, tell me more."
Now that's stuck in my head. Thanks. Well, it was not what I expected, but it was.
What were you expecting, Harlan? We can give you a reminder. Says Solara. You've definitely heard of Solara, please.
Oh, I was expecting it was Cat, because I for a minute there I was fancying her, and I wanted to express that very directly. And so I did, but it turns out it was not Cat. It was someone else.
Scandalous.
And I didn't hate it. Now, a gentleman doesn't kiss and tell, so I will leave out who it was.
You okay.
It'd be impolite.
Sure. That's probably for the best. You get a sense of so Solara may have already cut a bitch before in history. Right? She's not even leveled. Bring it.
That's why Harlan's not afraid of talking to her about it, because it's like he knows, like, oh yeah, I can hold her
But he's also not gonna like just rat her out and
Nope.
stick the Harlequins
Nope.
and harlots on her.
Not arming that trap. Yeah, and no.
So I mean, we appreciate, right? Oh, I want to know everything that happens to you.
Yeah.
And
So-
Solara's just like, not that we don't appreciate the heads up, I suppose, but
Oh, come on! Like all y'all don't talk about anything that's happened before.
oh, we have a whole text chain about it.
I'm aware of the little blue books y'all keep.
It's the Harlan sightings. Yeah. Harlan doesn't track anyone he's had encounters with. They do it for him.
He's never had to kiss and tell because they already know.
They all talk to each other.
So
I, by the way, adore this very much.
So more to come on that in the future, perhaps. That remains to be determined. I think there's things that I need to address before putting that one to bed. Bad turn of phrase. Before
Or is it
before
just a slip? Sometimes when we say things accidentally, we're just saying what's in our heart. Mishka is the best. We support you, Harlan. Whatever makes you happy.
That's dangerously toxic, but okay. Anywho, yeah, that's all I got for now. But thank you for attending. I trust that you will be accurate, and I have things to attend to here. Thank you.
She wants to go. You can go.
These round of drinks are
right
on
now.
me, by the way. I will cover this round of drinks.
Oh, thank you. And they all are just like, thank you, Harlan. And
It was a pleasure as always. It'll stand up as they leave the table, ma'am.
And Mishka
Ma'am.
reaches over and grabs her gigantic hat and puts it on. You get the sense like there's a little clang. You get the sense there might be like a helmet inside. As she puts it on. And Solara gets up and is just like, now, Harlan, it's really important that you understand. Don't be a stranger, okay? I was absolutely bereft when you were gone.
How can I be a stranger? Y'all know my name.
Oh, you. Pats you on the chest. Leaves her hand there maybe a little too long and then leaves. Now, Solara is absolutely what you imagine when you think of a harlot. But anyway, so yeah, they leave. They all.
Well, like, is she looking for a second group of friends because she's so up my alley? Like,
I actually had a suspicion that maybe one or two of your clingers on might have transitioned over to the Harlequins at some, or the harlots at some point.
oh my god.
You know,
Yeah, that's fair.
friends change up.
Has anyone
but
noticed how hot her hands are?
And you see Her Majesty of the Folk just with a hand on her, or her chin on her hand, just watching you from the bar, just sort of supremely amused by everything that just happened.
Looking at her like, help.
They leave. I think you're fine, love.
Well,
And as they leave, they each pass the bar and they go, Your Majesty, Your Majesty, Your Majesty, Your Majesty. And they leave. She gives them all little nods.
I love them.
And she does beckon you towards the bar.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, she pops your hat. So, how'd that go, love? I totally lost the accent for a second. It's fine.
How which this
Whatever
particular
that was, I don't know what you were trying to break to them. I really did think you were trying to disband them for a moment. With the severity of your
Do you think that I could? I don't think I could.
I think you might unleash a hell upon this landscape that you could not fathom if you tried to disband them.
Yeah, I like the modicum of control that I seem to uh, have in these types of meetings, even if I do not exercise it over them directly. Maybe not control, influence.
Have
That's
you
a
thought
better.
about sort of a monarchy situation? You seem really taken to it. You can't have a throne.
I mean, I could probably find it, but I would never. This is the only hat for my head. I guarantee you.
You are such a charmer, Holland.
So I've been told repeatedly lately.
So, maybe we should get on the subject of getting you on your toes again.
Kyle didn't understand that one.
We're going to start your training. I believe Gura is on his way.
Well, right, that wonderful. I'm happy to see the old lout's kicking about.
Well, kicking is a bit of a stretch, but he's moving his legs one at a time and slowly shambling forward.
Can't even really call it a traipse, either, can you? More of an amble.
He ambles with the best of them. And we'll pause from Harlan's training. All right. So, who wants to go next with their outside of their training? We're gonna probably go through a bunch of the scenes first, so that you have time to think about your leveling and get a little more acquainted with what you can do. Let's see. Yeah, who wants to go next? Who wants to do something? Raise your hand if you'd like.
I could go next since I
Sure.
have a
So
little bit of an idea of what I want to do.
So basically, you end up back at the tower of Her Majesty of the Hunt, the tall, statuesque storm giant woman, who sort of blue skin, her eyes this stormy gray that has sort of clouds in it that very much mimic her mood. You see thunderstorms when she's angry, and sort of like cumulonimbus when she's in a good mood. And hey, Mr. Blinks, you head back to the tower, and Sir Tuscandale is you hear a thump, 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 thump. As you see him sort of, if you've ever seen a Loxodon, like sort of scoot around a corner in full plate mail. He's like, "My squire hath returned. Oh, come here, my dear, come here." And he like picks you up and sort of, he actually can lift you, kind of. He gets you a few inches off the ground, and he's just like, "Oh, how are you, Hunter Beza?" I don't remember what your title was. I think it was Hunter.
I think so. She wasn't going by Sir Beza, but she was definitely indoctrinated into the Hunter. So
Absolutely.
I'm doing all right. Paru had a couple of close calls, which was a little concerning, but
every single one of you to bring up the fact that she almost died multiple times, and that just becomes her reputation.
Rude.
Overall, we definitely had some strange fights, though. I've never had to kill anything that was made out of paper.
Oh my! Have you ever had a paper cut? They're quite monstrous.
I think that only happens to people with flesh.
Oh, that is quite fair. But new experiences are very important for one's growth. I am absolutely confident that you are capable of handling such unexpected, dire situations. We have trained you well, after all.
Definitely. Although something happened that I don't think you guys could have trained me for, even if we'd known it was coming.
Oh my! What sort of
thing? Well, you know Holland's like random things that happen sometimes when he casts his spells.
It's quite quixotic, that one.
Right. So we think that's what triggered it, but we're not 100%. But he and I switched bodies.
Oh dear.
I had to figure out how to cast spells.
Well, Well,
Luckily, most of his trigger words are really easy. I kept yelling "stop it" at the monster, and things kept shooting out of my hand.
Well, you need to and he's desperately searching for a wise and sagely bit of advice about how that helps you, and eventually he comes up with, well, one must stay on one's feet and be prepared for anything, and in the event that you are ever able to, master the arcane arts, you will have had a modicum of experience doing so. I would say that you are overly prepared for such an unusual eventuality. Yes,
I
I'm
suppose
going with
that's
that.
true. That's a good way to look at it. He actually did a really good job fighting in my body, too.
Oh, well, that is clearly a testament to your prowess and training your form to peak athletic physicality. He's trying to give you credit both ways.
I mean, that probably helped a little. Muscle, well, I don't have muscles, but stone memory?
But you still have muscle memory. Yes, I am certain of that.
How have
He
things
doesn't
been
look
here?
forward. She's very confident. Well, and he puts an arm around your shoulder. You must tell us all about your adventures. A number of the lads and lasses are here today, so you can join us for our feasting and our tale telling, and you can join in the foray.
Sounds great.
Come, Squire. I mean, Hunter. And he's very proud when he says that. And he leads you over to the big, tall, like long table where all the hunters are, and you hear a Beza! It's very Norm from Cheers. Everybody's very excited to see you. There's a lot of getting up and like patting you on the back, like, "How are you? You look stronger than a dire ox. You're good. You." And there's a lot of that kind of like camaraderie stuff. Eventually, Duskendale's like, "No, please, give her room. Give her room. She's only been back for a moment, and you're already agog like a bunch of squirrels on an acorn. You need to chill out." And you've never heard Sir Duskendale say "chill out." And he sort of like, you see him kind of nudging people with his form and his big feet, and he's just like, "All right, get moving, all right." And he has you now, Benza, you will sit here beside me, and we shall have a tale telling. And you have an evening of revelry with the hunters of Her Majesty. And what sort of stuff do you do with them? You have themes.
I think, well, she probably tells them all so that they get to hear the story about the weirdness of switching bodies with Harland.
There's a lot of like elbow nudging and joking and sort of like cheers, lots of cheers. It's like during a State of the Union address when they'd applaud. They're toasting at the appropriate times in your story. Anytime you hit something, anytime you slay something, there's a big hurrah and a cheer and clinking of steins. Lots of it's very sort of ceremonial. There's a rhythm to it.
Mm-hmm. She definitely would tell them about the other fights we've been in, big or small, and how weird it was being back, especially considering she literally was alive for like a day in the material plane before we got into the book.
Yeah,
So
you don't have as much attachment. You had not as much history there.
definitely. So she tells them about all these weird things she's learning and seeing because they don't exist in the book, so she didn't know it was a thing. And
Do
how
you tell them about Villain?
at some
The traitor, the villain. They all sort of back you up. They're
She
all
does-
like, "Bitch, that man."
Yeah, she does throw in the part about like we don't know if he's trying to give us hints with some of the stuff we're finding, so we aren't sure if we don't know if he's doing it on purpose or if he's being controlled by something.
So you get a lot of like, I don't know. I think I don't know if I would trust him as far as I could throw him. Oh, maybe it's some sort of code. You should pay a lot more attention to what he's sending to you, or like, you should show us what you have. Like, there is many disparate attitudes among the hunters when you tell them stories and such.
And she tells them about getting to meet Harlan's family and Paru's family and how different the two were, and also how she didn't understand exactly what a family was.
They all look around a little bit like
What she clarifies that, like, you know, she understood what the idea was,
Mhm.
but getting to see how people interact in
seeing
one
how different families work.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, seeing the dynamics was different. And I think that's probably when she pulls out her gifts for them.
Oh, okay.
She starts handing them out to everyone.
They're like kids at Christmas. They're all just like, okay.
I think it's like horns or claws or whatever she had on her, and she's carved on a lot of them. And with pretty designs or whatever, maybe her rune symbol that she has. And on one side it's whatever she's carved, and on the other side it says like, to my aunt, to my uncle, to my cousin, you know, like age appropriate down the line, to gender neutral respected
to my
elder.
kin in the hunt.
Yeah. All of that. And when she gets to Sir Tuscandale, on the back his says dad.
And he goes, that's very well done.
Getting to see Harlan's and Paru's families made me realize that even though I didn't exactly know that's what was happening for me, that you guys are my family, so I wanted to give you something.
She's trying really. If you could ever have an elephant trying not to cry. If Sir Tuscandale was a human, he'd have the bushiest mustache, and he'd be trying very hard to like hide behind it right now. And he's just like,
I have one for the majesty of the hunt when she gets here too, but and she definitely gives him a hug when she sees he's trying to like hold it together.
That doesn't help. Everyone at the table is just sort of like, we'll give you some privacy. Just kind of all look away a little bit, trying to give Sir Tuscandale his moment of being verklempt. And so he just sort of like hugs you, and it's just like very tight, like, thank you, lass.
She hugs him back.
And it takes a second for him to like stop squeezing, and and you hear a thud from outside, a kind of crashing. You know what that noise is. And from the windows you see this tall statuesque form having leapt off the tower, because of course she did. And she sort of wanders in, kind of shoves the door open in a triumphant way, and everyone stands very attentively as Her Majesty of the Hunt enters. And she looks down at you, Beza, and says, "Ah, my hunter returned from the outside world. How do you fare?"
Very well, overall, Your Majesty. We definitely had some interesting situations. But
yes, Beza has been telling us of the. She's. Are you all right, Sir Tuscandale? It's fine. I'm good.
I think my gift surprised him a little.
A little bit. Yes.
I brought something for everyone. And I have this one for you. I hope it's okay. She gives her hers.
She kneels down, offers a hand just to receive the gift.
Just like on the back of Sir Tuscandale's, it said, to my dad. On the back of hers, it says, to my mom.
Ah! Oh my God. She looks down and kind of glances. Mom. She looks confused.
I know that you and Sir Tuscandale aren't technically my parents, especially in the married department, but
that straightens him up. Like, of course, no, Your Majesty.
The thing is that I've been spending a lot of time with Paru's family, and we got to meet Harlan's family. And after seeing them all, I realized that even though it's not technically the traditional kind of situation, you guys are definitely my family. And other than the fact that I could walk and was fully functional, I was pretty much just a baby when I came here, since I was only like a day old. So you really are like my mom and my dad in that sense, because you raised me and you're the primary people in my life. So I wanted to give you something, and I hope it's okay. If mom isn't okay, I can give you the other one that says my queen, or you could have both.
Did you intend to gift the My Queen gift to someone else?
No, but I was trying to gauge your reaction.
Though you have not come from our land, we do very much consider you. And she kind of smirks and lifts your chin a little. Carved in our traditions. You're very much family based. And everyone's like, oh yeah.
He gives her a hug.
Oh, she doesn't get smaller. You're just like,
That's fine.
Okay.
And then she gives her the one that also says to my queen.
And she takes that one as well. And she pockets them away. And Sir Tuscandale's like, well, enough of this blubbery, you all sentimental fools. We shall all drink to Beza and begin her training at first light in the morning. And I was like,
Oh, I actually tried my first alcohol too.
Everyone gets very excited.
Moonshine tastes disgusting. Or at least
less enthusiastic. It's an acquired taste, Beza. We'll get you sorted.
Okay.
And you didn't have moonshine from our neck of the woods. We got you.
True.
And yeah, I am never gonna make individual hunters. I'm just gonna say a bunch of voices and have them be a group. Oh, because I adore that. So, who else would like to do something?
Hello, Autumn.
I mean, there's only 2 of you left who haven't done anything yet.
That's true. Would you like to go first, Juliet?
I can.
Sure.
That's fine. Sure. I'll go next.
Sure. So, one probably has to come before the other. You probably have to speak with Her Majesty to know how to retrace Verlaine's steps.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point during your training, during those couple of weeks, you do make the journey to the coast. And you see massive cliffs and an ocean that goes on forever. It just sort of fades into fog on the edges. And you see on the coast a thriving seaport. Massive. There's dozens and dozens of ships, huge galleons. There's sort of long kind of crew boats that you would all have oars. There's sailing ships and little dinghies and buoy ships and things like that. All sorts of things and all sorts of creatures running around in various garb of sailors and brigands and all. It's very Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's very Muppet Treasure Island. There's lots of animals.
You had me.
There's like animals and satyrs. It's fun. It's more Narnia than Muppet, but yeah. So you pass through a lot of individuals that seem to be maybe not 100% on the up and up, but they seem kind enough.
Okay.
And eventually you ask around and you find your way to a large ship. Well, it seems like a ship, but it's built into the earth. Like it sort of juts out in there's sort of rocks and stones and things, and it leads up as like a stairwell into a very large galleon. Almost like her throne room used to be a ship, used to be mobile, but is now attached to the ground. And you arrive in Her Majesty of the Trades throne room with a little bit of fanfare. Someone announces you, and you're in that circular throne room again. And you see at her chair a Triton woman, a sea elf like woman with fanned ears, long. Did I say long? Maybe it was short. It was one or the other. Greenish blue hair. I'm not going to talk about the length. She's very curvy, voluptuous woman with sort of a sailor garb, a very nice coat with a mix of leathers and net, and like it's very seafaring in aesthetic. And she gets up out of her throne with not an unkind face. She's just a little on. She seems very distracted, kind of a little down. But she sees you and she brightens up a little bit.
I'll just curtsy. Because I don't know her very well, so I don't really. We're not cool like that. So
I would accept a salute if you'd like.
Oh yeah, just yes.
There we are. So, Oliette, it has been some time.
That it somehow has and has not. Is there any chance you have any time to just speak privately for just
you? Yes.
Oh. Being back here. Oh my god. Okay.
You can leave us. And she looks around, and like the couple of Tritons, and there's a lionfish dude. He's got like mustache,
Wild.
a little fin on his head. They bow and salute. They kind of do both. And you kind of threw them all off what they're supposed to do.
Oh.
And they all sort of tap, and they'll leave.
Okay.
They close the door with a, and you're in this what is essentially like a very pretty wooden room. It's almost like they gutted the galleon to make a very large throne room. Again, when you look up, though, it goes into fog, just like all the other throne rooms. And she looks at you, and well, you can have a seat. And you see that there's behind you now, where there wasn't before, a large, comfortable wooden table with multiple chairs and a little lantern and some a pitcher and cups.
I will wait for her to sit first.
She tugs a chair out very casually, flops down into it.
Okay, I will follow.
She's a pirate, so she can't sit right. She has one of her knees, kind of one of her legs tucked under her, and she just sort of sits there and pours the drinks. So what can I do for you? Your lady has been keeping me somewhat up to speed.
Yes. So despite what I assume could only have been an immaculate upbringing and training by yours truly, one of us has the lame. I don't.
Yes.
Did something happen, or because it's like a little foggy now, but I remember they were acting so weird at our not a graduation. What would this word be? Not a coronation. At the thing that we did.
Your exhibition.
Thank you.
Strange. How strange? What do you mean they were acting strange?
Like they were, being not very cool and very like more dodgy than usual, a little more shifty than normal, which is saying something.
Elaine has never been one to take stress very well.
Okay. Fair. Fair. Fair.
Not to discount your observations.
I think something
Obviously
happened is all I'm trying to say. So I came to see if you could give me some insight as to where they were last before we left. Maybe people they worked with or studied with, or if you have any idea where they might have gone in the last few days, weeks. I don't know.
Much of his time was spent between the two of us, training him in diplomacy and understanding how to understand other people. That was a lot of what I showed him how to do. He found himself gravitating towards slightly more deadly arts a bit. And that was something that I myself could not teach, but he found ways, I suppose, to gain that knowledge. I made sure to impress upon him what was expected of him from the queens and what we were to test him on in his skills. He had quite a bit of say in the manner in which he exhibited his learning during the exhibition. Verlaine was always, and I only speak in past tense in the sense of our history, it seemed he always looked at you and your friends from the other side of a glass, almost. He was very lonely. A very lonely soul, from what I could tell.
Right. Okay. So you don't have any idea where he learned how to do some of the things that we know he can do?
Such as? What specifics are you looking for?
I don't know how much the Queen of the Word has told you. The things keep attacking us, and these things are littered with their. It's almost like he is sending them. It's hard to explain, but I feel fairly confident that they are involved somehow.
All right. She has told us that much.
Okay.
We've been kept, mostly, she has informed us of what she wishes to, of your correspondence with her. I do not think she hides much from us, based on what she has told us.
So is it possible? I mean, there's quite a few colorful characters out there. Is it possible that any of them might know anything? Anyone that you saw hanging around often, or anything at all?
Verlaine would go off on his own quite a bit. Out to, I believe, south of here. There are a number of coastal caves. It's private. It's a place to, I assume, clear his head. But as I said, our training was limited to certain specific skill sets, his and mine.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time.
Of course. If you have any other concerns or questions, please do ask. I am very concerned with Verlaine's whereabouts and what he is up to. Whatever that may be.
All right. Just gonna head out.
Thank you for the visit, Oliette. I know I do not see you all very often, and of course, as I said, Verlaine kept to themselves quite a bit. Therefore, I kept to my realm, but it is very nice to see you.
Yes. Yes.
Still,
Oh, go ahead.
she was going to give a farewell, so if you had anything else to say to her, go ahead.
No. I think Aliette is a little preoccupied and
Well, best of luck with your emergency training and safe travels.
thank you. Make my way out. And start heading south, I guess.
Okay. So you start wandering south of this port town. And again, huge cliffs, sandy beaches. It's actually kind of nice. It's a little chilly. It's more like an English beach than it's like Cliffs of Dover kind of thing. It's big. And you probably travel for easily a couple of hours south. And eventually you do find that the cliffs start curving inward into caverns. Large waves crashing deeper and deeper into the cliff sides, and you start seeing these kind of cavernous spaces. Eventually you see ones that are not as pummeled by waves and are just like legitimately caverns you could start wandering into.
Okay. Probably spend the next however long day. I don't know. Just scouring every single one, seeing if there's anything,
Okay.
any objects left behind, markings.
Go ahead and give me a perception check as you start exploring these caverns.
Okay, let's see here. Perception. Not too bad. Hold on, I gotta get to my. Of course, my character sheet is frozen.
Oh no. No rush.
Okay, it's a 12 on the die, +1. So 13.
All right. So you start following along. It takes a little while to get to any caverns that are particularly interesting. Most of them just seem empty. You do find one that seems to have the remnants of a bit of a campsite. You see the remnants of a fire, a circle of stone and wood and things burning that had burned. Old, you'd estimate maybe months ago. You see a let me see what other sort of things. You find like scraps that seems like food had been prepared there. You do note a bunch of scrapes on the ground, as you would recognize as something that Verlaine did when they were bored. Kind of like just notches that Verlaine would put, and it's in the stone ground of the cave. And there's not much else other than just hanging out, it seems. There's not much here. But you move on to other caves. Give me another perception check as you do a second sweep.
Ooh, that is a +1, 17.
17, okay. You keep looking. You assume he's like, it looks like that place had been kept many times. He might have spent some time there. But eventually you find another cave a little deeper down the coast. And it is you find the normal campsite, the rocks and things like that. There's a little food. You see the notches. But eventually you see that a couple of the notches are a little longer, like he was carving a little longer. And then one of them just sort of starts meandering to a wall. You follow the trail from this knife blade. And it looks almost like this cut is a little different than his switchblade. They it's a little more jagged, and there's almost a little there's a little shine to the cut. You look a little closer, and you kind of like put your finger into that knife trail. You start scratching a little bit with your nail, and some black comes off under your nail a bit. Kind of scrape it out, and you look a little bit, and it's like powdered, flaky black. And you follow the rest of the knife point up the wall in the cavern. And then the drag starts becoming shapes in the wall. You see, starts as a circle, then a kind of it's rough, but another shape nearby looks almost like a book, like an open book. And then it starts turning into, it's hard to see. It's a lot of random organic shapes still being carved with the knife. And you're not quite sure what to make of it. You're maybe like a foot away from the wall. And you back up a little. You realize, like, oh, this might be something that I need to get a better view of. And do you have any light or anything? You have dark vision.
I do.
So it doesn't matter. You back up a little bit to get a better view of the wall, and to your horror, you see a full picture when you back up. You see a face. It is angry and full of malice and sketched in. Like, there's just extra lines where the eyes the brow is furrowed. You see just a maw, just gaping mouth of, like, it's screaming.
Does this look like Verlaine's face or someone else's face?
No, it does not look like Verlaine's face. You also see, as you back up a little bit, that some of the knife scrapes are dripping down the wall with black. Look up. Did you go to the wall and look at the drips?
Yeah, I'll get closer if I notice that it's, yeah.
You touch it, and it's wet.
Does it smell like ink? Or blood? Ink. Okay. Okay. Gosh. Okay, I will just probably in a. Oh, go ahead.
One more thing before you
Yeah.
go as you're staring at the wall and you see the ink. You back up a little bit more and you realize you've scuffed something on the ground. And you look down at the sort of sandy dirt and you see more streaks in the ground, but looks like fingers that had like grasped at the ground. Not very long, just something was on the ground and scraping. Someone with human hands. 10 fingers rather. But you scuffed a little bit, but it kind of looks like someone was like kneeling there. There's a couple of cups of ink.
Someone was kneeling there, scraping at the ground. Can I kind of kick around down there? Is there anything? There's nothing buried, is there?
It's just rock. It was
Okay.
in the dust. The scraping
Okay.
was in the dust.
Okay. Okay, then I'm going to before I leave, in probably a somewhat shaky hand, I'm going to try to sketch out what I see
Okay.
in very simple. I don't want to recreate it perfectly. I just want a general gist because I don't want to spend a
Sure.
ton of time here.
Sure.
And I get the sense that there might be some fuckery afoot. So I, being well versed in book specific
Book
fuckery. Yeah, I don't want to. I
Yeah,
don't want to.
It's a specific subject matter.
I don't
Book
know
fuckery.
what. Yeah, that's my specialty. So yeah, I'm gonna try to
Get
make
a
a note
sense
of
of it
that.
without exactly copying it.
Yep, and then I'm going to just fuck off and get out of there, and go back to.
I am going to say, Olia, please take inspiration for that care you're taking.
Awesome.
Yes, book smarts. Thank you, Meanie. So you sketch as best you can to get a sense of the expression of the face. The other shapes, I'm sure you try to copy a little bit to get some context. And yeah, so you close it and you get the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna go see my friends and just, be blank a little bit up here for a day or two.
You hang out with them and there's a lot of just like, oh my god, we have to tell you everything that happened, and I bet you met like tons of cute boys in the material world and lots of that's the only thing that brings you out, like but so there's a lot of like they're kind of all talking at you and at each other, but you're just kind of like you said, blank.
The noise is like, it's so soothing. Just
not
empty,
thinking,
meaningless. Yeah.
Babbling. It helps.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me tell the music to calm the fuck down because we're gonna move on. Paru.
Yes.
Which would you like to do first? Research the Baba Yaga or visit the mushrooms? Those are two separate activities.
They are two separate activities. And I sent you a DM because I had hurt myself, and I thought you might be interested in that potential.
I will consider it. I will let you know.
Stabbing of the knife as I hurt myself with that thought. I think I do want to research the Baba Yaga first. It feels a little bit more pressing as far as
it's in your head. It's like, oh, you literally just thought about it that night to go research the Baba Yaga. So yeah, you have a thought to do that. You would go seek out Her Majesty the Word to do that, I would think. Actually, no, you can talk to Her Majesty the Vine a little bit.
Okay.
It's
awesome.
The Fae, some semblance of the Fae. You can ask her. So you, at one point during the early parts of your training, you show up again and you go visit Her Majesty the Vine, the Minotaur woman with the very elegant long horns, these steer-like horns with vining. They're almost made of briar thorns and vines. And she's got her kind of huntress-esque dress made of natural materials, moss and leaves and such. And she's at her throne, conversing with the giant raven. They seem like they're just chatting though.
she just kind of knocks, pokes her head around the corner. Anybody home?
Please come in. Siegfried looks to you.
Siegfried?
It's been a very long time since I've seen you.
It has. Too long. It's good to see you.
Raven can't smile, but...
That's okay. Paro smiles enough for the both of them.
I trust you've been making a whole heap of trouble.
Yes. Quite a bit.
Very good.
Apparently I had inspired a riot in my hometown.
Oh my.
When I left. I didn't realize that.
Oh, that is too good.
So she tells Sigurd a little bit about the coming back and seeing the Les Mis-esque mural.
Oh, I love it. Oh, God. So yeah, Siegfried is absolutely enamored with this idea. You must figure out how to incite other insurrections.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you. I would love to hear more.
Of course. Your Majesty, if I might have a moment, and Sigrun, of course, I welcome your input as well.
Oh, you do? Of course, I'd love to stay. And Her Majesty of the Vine rolls her eyes. Please, Paro, come sit.
She does. So...
And she takes a spot on the ground with you.
I may have misheard or mistranslated in my very young self. She's not the Gabo Yaga. It's the Baba Yaga. And I know nothing about the Baba Yaga. But I think that is who is the person who has been speaking to me. And when I was at home, and she pulls out the tea set, I went to the place where I used to have my little secret conversations with this person I would only ever hear in my head. And when I turned to leave it, the teacup was hot and steaming, though I had not put any liquid into it. I was wondering if you knew anything of the Baba Yaga.
Her Majesty of the Vine, it is a name I have not contemplated in quite some time. But yes, I have heard of this being, as you say, your friend.
It's never felt like a malicious entity. I'm not sure if it's someone I should be afraid of or not. I was attacked pretty close after the discovery of the teapot. I don't think it was related.
I have found in my time, and perhaps my wife would be of better service in this matter. But at least for my part, the Baba Yaga is not something you can intuit intention from very easily. Not overtly malicious, not tremendously benign either. More of a force of nature, prone to whim and to fury and to beauty as well.
Perhaps
When you say you had conversations, were they actual conversations? Were you spoken to in return?
I think you and I had said like it was kind of like a general feeling of speaking.
It was more like you'd hear rustling in the wind and you'd interpret that as a certain answer, or you'd feel like you were being told something. You wouldn't hear a voice, but you'd like feel an answer. And as a kid, you're not necessarily sure if that's just your imagination or if it's actually a response.
So she explains that, and she explains, and I always had the thing with my hair where even before I learned the druid magic, where I could get an answer when I would cut my hair in a certain way, and was never concrete and never more than an overall feeling. But whatever I intuited as an answer was never wrong from what I understand.
You divined truth from your questions.
Mm-hmm.
That is not entirely unrelated to what I have heard of the Baba Yaga. Being able to see into the truth of things, of people, of event. You make a sacrifice to her every time you do that. It's not a blood sacrifice. It's not something that takes away your vitality, but it is something of yours you offer.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I knew that I was different than the other goblins. Maybe I didn't realize how much until I got back. The fact that I still can't see in the dark. I still, my teeth are different. A lot of the abilities that they seem to have to, like my brother, when he gets into scrapes and stuff, just like immediately kind of turns around and like is able to bite and scratch, like. And I've never had that impulse, and I don't know why. It's confusing.
Even before coming here.
Even before coming here.
Well, many things that we see are not as we perceive them. Perhaps you are not a goblin in the strictest sense.
Then what am I?
And she thinks for a moment, considers. Besides my charge. That would be a question for my wife.
Okay.
I am sorry I do not have every answer I wish I could give you.
That's okay. It is good to see your face.
And she reaches out with a hand for yours and just kind of, it is very good to see you, Para.
I guess I will go pay Her Majesty of the Word a small visit.
Send her my love.
I will.
And you get up and Sigfrin sort of nudges you a bit with her beak.
Good to see you.
I could have told you got the name wrong.
Well,
Nobody asked.
See? There's a mistake and a lesson that I need to keep learning. It's okay to ask the questions.
Mm-hmm. And the raven winks at you. I think that's an excellent lesson.
I'll keep that one in mind.
Ta.
Bye.
She weirdly just decides to start poking at the ground. Sometimes it's just
so much. I completely had almost forgot about Sigrun, and the fact that I did put the giant raven on my Paru vest now makes me really happy.
Perfect. Wonderful.
So I head off to Her Majesty of the Word.
All right. So, Her Majesty of the Word. You find her in her study. It's off to the side of the throne room. And she's reading. Before you get through the door, though, she's like, "Come in, Paru."
That was remarkably astute. Do I have distinctive footfalls?
No, my wife told me you were coming.
Oh, well, she told me to send you her love.
Yes, she likes to reiterate multiple times.
Nothing wrong with being told that you are loved and wanted.
Something she did not tell me, though, is why you were coming to see me. Apparently she wanted it to be a surprise.
I had been mistaken about the entity name that I felt that I was speaking to.
And she gets a little smirk on her face. I see. Now, what being is it that you would actually like to know about?
The Baba Yaga? And if maybe you had an idea of why she would talk to me?
She flips through the book in her lap. Starts reading from it. Out loud. The Baba Yaga has visited the prime material plane many a time, in some form or another. And when she does, she gifts the mortals some semblance of her essence. And through time has come to beget a bloodline through the ages, through the various ancestries of the world. You can find a drop of it in just about anyone. A little. Any kind of person. And sometimes that bloodline expresses itself. In a child of her bloodline. They are sometimes called children of the forest. They are sometimes called Nicosta. They appear as their family, born to their people, for all intents and purposes, are a member of their people, but their nature is circumvented by the Baba Yaga, her intention. You find that you can connect with these fey magics, see as she sees, speak with her conviction and knowledge. Am I getting close to the mark?
Yes. It explains a lot.
They're in true then for you.
Yes. I'm not like my family. I can't see in the dark. I don't have the same impulses. I don't
have the same lifespan.
No. I noticed that when I came back. Wait. What does that mean? I don't have the same lifespan.
It is a gift and a curse depending on your lineage.
Will I...
Because they are not of their kind, they are born to.
Goblins are short-lived.
Relatively, yes. I think you might find it will exist for quite a while, given your fey lineage.
Oh.
I realize that might be a lot to process. Apologies. You were searching for answers and I gave you a bit of an existential crisis.
No, that's okay. So I'm not... I'm Nicosta? Is that why I can hear answers to questions I have in nature? And when I cut my hair, am I tapping into that bloodline? Is that...
She doesn't answer, but she smiles, very satisfied.
So if that's the case, then she really was maybe there in my area. The teapot. She pulls out the teapot and she's like sets it on the ground and just kind of like stares at it for a hot minute. I made this when I was very young.
It's very nice. She says in this way of like, should I put it on the fridge?
She kind of, Paru like gives a, like just looks up and like quirks the eyebrow like,
she's a bit of a bitch.
I wasn't asking for praise. I'm working through something here.
You get that glimmer of impishness that you think is clearly why she's married to the vine. Married to the vine, that's a great way to call someone alcoholic.
Oh, God.
Sorry. Anyway, continue. Just a thought.
When I went home, years and years had passed here. It had been, by the time I got back to my house, maybe like 3 or 4 days. But I hadn't been out in my little haven, I guess for lack of a better term, for quite some time. And it was bone dry when I left it. When I was there with Oliette, I would turn to leave, and the teapot had filled with hot, steaming tea that I did not put in there. So maybe she was there. And
perhaps in spirit?
And I'm not crazy.
She's not known for traversing the material plane very much.
Is she here on this one?
Here, no. I don't believe so, unless he... I don't see why one would write her in. We did not write her in, so no, I wouldn't think so.
Then where would do I need to find her? Is there some
Well, things with the level of mastery of the divining arts, such as your ancestor. She kind of smirks a little. It would be quite difficult to track such a person through arcane means, unless one were of her lineage. Perhaps she would allow it. But that's supposition on my part. I don't know her mind. Very few could ever hope to, as mercurial as she is. As are most fae, I think you'd find.
That is definitely food for thought. So I'm not necessarily goblin, I'm fae.
Of a kind. More fae descended. You're still mortal.
Just a lot more long-lived than most of my family will be. Okay.
As I said, a gift and a curse. Especially for those born to races who can expect centuries and centuries of life. You find yourself you find time on short supply, I imagine.
Got it.
As concerning as you might find your situation, I imagine theirs could be slightly more terrifying.
Yeah.
Not to negate your experience.
No.
Your concerns are valid.
Thank you. You've given me much to think about.
Of course, dear. There are others, I imagine. Nicosta. There aren't many. It's not a common expression of bloodline. But perhaps there are ways of finding them. Perhaps they experience what you experience.
Maybe. Be worth looking into, I'm sure.
And of anything, as much as I do put, as we all do, put weight in the family you find and choose, you'll find some more family among them, perhaps. At least kin, if not family. And there's value there. You could find more answers. Or at least more individuals who understand you. She kind of hangs on that a little bit, noting what you had said before about your family.
Do you know of any?
Nicosa? Well, there are none here in the book, so no.
Fair enough. Thank you, Your Majesty. I appreciate your time.
Of course. Of course. Happy to give it.
Have an excellent rest of your day.
Thank you. Send my wife my love.
I will. And she does as she's told.
She returns to the book and leaves you to go. Okay. So.
How about that existential crisis, y'all?
Woo! Woo, woo, woo. And then you have one more thing you would like to do.
Yes, I like to go see my sniffs.
You can go see mushroom friends.
Go mushroom
You
friends!
wander to the caves under the ground. That one of the entrances, there's hundreds of entrances to get to the underground. This sort of lower world beneath the world where all the Myconid society lives in the Feywild, or in the book. And you go down into the caves. And you find, as you get a little lower into the caves, you get a little further underground, you feel the rock sort of soften.
She puts her hand out to feel that spore circle.
Yeah, you feel the circle of spores, like that connective network of semi-sentient fungi. And you kind of watch as it lights up a little bit under your hand, a little bioluminescence in the trail of you walking down the wall. Do you do anything? Do you reach out to it at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Just immediately put the spores I can generate against it as kind of a hello, I missed you kind of.
A little bioluminescent dust from your spores sort of cling to the wall, and you watch as almost like little fireflies a little bit kind of start lighting up down the wall. It's very fiber optic. As it goes down, and eventually you watch as the spores start streaking down the wall like little shooting stars down the wall, perhaps alerting the other Myconids that a friend has come home. And you start walking down the path. It takes a little while, but it's dark and cool and comfortable in its mustiness. And eventually you open up into a large cavern lit with all sorts of bioluminescent colors. And there's Myconids all over, all shapes and sizes, some of them attached to the wall, some of them attached to each other, like little sort of clumps of them living around, and some of them moving lumbering around on limbs, some of them sliding around. It's all sorts of shapes and sizes. And among them you see some caps. You recognize that shape. You look around, you kind of wander over, and you see a very buff, very big mushroom with big red cap and white spots. Not that you can see it super well in the colors of the bioluminescence, but you know who it is. And and you know that's Sniffs.
Hey, buddy.
And you sort of see him turn around, no face.
Yeah.
Just big hands. And you see that he's got a little bit of a, like, it's weird. There's like a mustache he's kind of grown. Still of that kind of material.
Nice.
That sort of mushroom material. And you see he sort of straightens up a little bit. A mush stash. Thank you, Kyle. And he kind of straightens up a little bit and kind of like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Picks you up.
Absolutely launches herself, just like
there's like a spin and kind of hugs very exaggeratedly. He's very warm and soft and squishy, and he's like a Nerf friend. And
should imagine it like a mattress, memory foam mattress, just kind of like sinking into it. Yeah.
And you press out and you see your handprint.
Exactly.
And he kind of like holds you, and then he just kind of picks you up and just holds you at what would be eye level. He's very like big, like a big puppy, lots of energy, lot of muscle behind that energy. And yeah, he's just clearly very excited to see you.
She like puts her hands and she kind of like does her little spores, and she like gives him some of the images of the giant, like the party and the giant tree thing and the paper dragon and just the mural and just all of these feelings and colors, and like just it's probably way too much too fast, but she's just
you hear a little like
so happy,
kind of like patting his feet. And then you he sneezes and you get spores. Sorry for anyone. I know we are in the after. This conceptually came up when my head was in the before times.
Yes. Understand.
In someone's face. So you get this image in your head, and I don't need to ask you this question, Paru. I know the answer to this question. You get an image of being at the reacclimation center, sitting around, bored out of your fucking mind. And you just get the sense that Sniffs has been bored to tears if he had tear ducts. And just, yeah, you hear a ticking clock from the metronome station, and you see yourself waiting, doing nothing. And he kind of like squeezes a little bit, and then he puts you down.
I'm sorry. I wish you could come with me. It's good to see you.
And he like puts his hands on your face.
She just like wants to stay there forever. She's just like, nope, home, goodbye. This is home now. I never leave.
You just walk forward and just memory foam into his chest.
Yeah. It's like Gura with the wall of sports. She's like, no, this is where I live now. Thank you. Goodbye.
Wonderful. Yeah, you just have a really nice time with him. Do you talk to him about anything? Or just in general, like kind of a catch-up thing?
I think she talks to him a little bit about her frustration with feeling out of her depth being home. And I think she talks to him a little bit about what she just found out about the Nicosta and this idea. And just, she talks a little, it's kind of like, she just kind of brain dumps at him, for lack of a better phrase, because
kind of curls his feet up and he sits and he's very much towering over you, but he listens. He's a really good listener.
He's an excellent listener.
Doesn't interrupt or anything.
No, and she shares the visuals because she knows that she can share the emotions and things that way. So shares a little bit of the fear of running up into an enemy to like do, you know, like she and he, like the two of them used to do together all the time. Like, all right, you take this end and I take this end, and I got your back, and the two of them just rushing it and just being smashed flat with one hit, and just like this. How do I fix that?
Good times, good times.
Yeah.
Well, and as you talk a little bit about this idea of the Nacosta, and your family, things like that, he gives you a little bit of vision. You get a sense of like you lost your keys under the couch kind of sense, and then some images of you spending time with the mushrooms, family, friends. That you're searching for things. You're trying to find other connections. He understands that. It's kind of how he's able to express that.
Yeah.
He also shows you a thing that's not necessarily directly from your point of view, but at one point you and him got into an arm wrestling competition. And he played it up like a goddamn soccer player getting kicked in the shin when you beat it. Like he let you beat him one time. But what you didn't see, and you get to see a little bit, is that when you turn your back, he's kind of like this idea he's trying to get across to you that you're stronger than you think you are. And even if he's not around, he thinks you can take care of yourself.
Thanks, buddy. But seriously, this thing was fucking huge. Yeah.
And yeah, so you get to hang out with Sniffs a little. You can tell him if you like his mustache or not. He's trying it out.
Definitely tells him that she likes his mustache.
And you get a little vision in your head of Harland, like you seeing Harland combing his beard. Like,
nice. Trying to impress the
You've seen Harland get accosted by harlots before.
Yeah. She kind
So
of
that's the kind of image you get is him being like, he equates the mustache or the beard to be
attractive.
To be the thing that is handsome. And so he's trying to be handsome.
You have always been handsome to me, my friend.
You see these giant hands.
Oh my god, Angela.
I did the hand motion the moment you texted stop, which is exactly what I was thinking when I did it.
Oh god, Daisy.
And the gremlins get into the mushroom village, and
Mama, you had chicken. You had chicken on a plate. I have to eat the chicken if you have the chicken on the plate.
and your production assistant assists with removing the gremlin.
Yes.
All right, so let's spend a little time talking about how the next 2 weeks go, and what you learn, and what you how you grow in a more martial sense. We'll start at the top. Harland. Let's talk a little bit about what you get when you level to 4. Gura arrives and spends a little time listening to your adventures and ruminating on the things you've experienced. What sort of things do you practice or learn how to do or discover that you can do? Go ahead and pick like one big thing that you think would be really interesting to talk about. Of the things, if you learn multiple things, just to keep it short.
Sure. Yes. I mean, yeah, additional sorcery points. Okay. I think
you get a better sense of how to manipulate the forces around you, the arcane forces, to kind of nudge them in the direction you want, adding your own little bit of chaos into the mix of what already happens around you.
I think while talking one night, I think he would whip out a small flask of Uncle Charlie's moonshine that
Oh,
he made away with. And so he and Gura are
you
just like
sleep with it. It's just in the pocket of your robe when you got teleported here.
it's a lucky flask. Why not?
It's true.
So he's like passing this flask back and forth to Gura, and then I think he would they're eating or whatever, and he takes a bite of a hot pepper, like just like because it's theirs, like snacking food. Takes a bite of it, and then he feels that like kind of hiccup feeling.
Oh no! Okay.
And when it comes out, there's a loud burp, and a 15-foot gout of flame shoots out from Harlan's mouth.
You are as dragon. Gura is impressed.
And then he does it again, like. Yes, that's the thing I can do now.
And I think I understand the thing you learned just now. Is that a new spell?
It is the spell Dragon Breath, which I am co-opting to name
Uncle Charlie's
Mystery Vapors.
Uncle Charlie's Mystery Vapors. Kyle, take inspiration if you don't already have it, please. Thank you. Being very generous tonight because y'all are delightful. Okay, so you learn Uncle Charlie's Mystery Vapors. Gura would be interested in meeting this Uncle Charlie. Seems much to learn of his distilling practices.
Hold on a second. So like the fire breathing goes away, and he's like kind of feeling it out, and like takes another bite of the hot pepper, and like has a moonshine chaser, and then like taps Gura's like forehead, and Gura can now, and acid comes out.
Oh. Gura needs Pepsid.
Yeah, that's what we call that, reflux, right?
Uncle Charlie's acid reflux. And Gura's very impressed. Zantac is an elf you meet. He's an alchemist in town.
75 years old.
Yeah, 75. Very young. So as you're training and you discover new things you can do, one of the things you talk to Gura about is how random things were happening. Not just you, but like other people were experiencing random things. And it, to some degree, made you feel closer to them, but also caused you a concern. And Gura sort of, for a long time, for days maybe, he's ruminating on this whole concept. And eventually he comes to you with a thought, which is often how he does things. He's like, Gura has thought for Harland.
That makes one of us.
Gura think that your magic, your chaotic nature come from connection to Feywild from your ancestors. Yes.
All right, that doesn't sound wrong.
That is yes. As a reminder, we have discussed this many times. Gura has said this to you.
I knew it sounded familiar.
Gura think perhaps your companions spending time here in Fey, and he looks around, may have lent a bit of chaos to them as well. You go to
Oh.
place that wants to make sense of world, and you do not make sense.
That's such a relief to hear. Here I'm thinking that, I gave him like the mange or something.
Gura does not think that Harland is contagious in any way. That Gura
A
cares
few
to
people
know
that
about.
would say otherwise.
Phew. Anyway, stay safe, kids. Gura basically starts to impress upon you that perhaps everyone has a touch of wild magic now. You don't make sense in that world in many ways. Even just the fact of your agedness doesn't make sense. And especially given what you tell him about Mechanus and how much order and logic it tries to impress upon a world that is sort of somewhere between logic and chaos, you find yourselves a variable that it can't account for. And sometimes the universe just goes a little haywire around you. So you all have a touch of wild magic to be found in certain circumstances when the powers that be, aka the viewers, decide you have tested the logic of the world a bit too hard and it breaks under the weight of your bizarreness. Yeah. So that is something that he imparts on you. Beza, let's talk a little bit about what you get at level 4 as you train with Sir Tuskendale and the Hunters and Her Majesty of the Hunt.
Okay. So for Beza, she, after having fought a few times, she's realizing that she needs to make herself a little tougher.
Sure.
Because no one else in the group really fights up front as much as she does, and she's realizing she needs to be able to take a hit or two.
You are the vanguard, as they say. You have to be up front on the front line.
Yes, and she also wants to be faster and a little more agile with her strikes and moving around.
Sure.
So
that expresses a lot in the way that they train you. A lot of multiple people running at you at once with sticks, learning how to take a hit a little better, or just some of them have the opinion that you just need to take more hits. You'll get used to it. Some of them do that. Some of them are trying to teach you more ways of evasion and dodging in order not to get struck as much. You find that Sir Tuskendale is not the person to teach you how to be more agile. He's definitely a brute force sort of man. But he does teach you how to take a hit in that sort of like sense of, centering yourself and being prepared to take damage and to withstand damage. One's constitution is the most important thing, next to strength and agility and your mental acuity, of course. And he's just listing all the things. It's like in the top 20.
Important, but I feel like these are two things I really need to focus on. Especially because some of the thinking part, I mean, let's be honest, Elliot's better at it.
Well, you must lean on your teammates in order to best effectively act. You focus on the things you excel at, and then you will all excel as a group. Yes.
I need to be able to take a hit and dish him out.
Yes. You hear some of the hunters drinks. It's way more fun to hit people when you're drunk, apparently.
Yeah.
Sir Tuskendale tells them not to, but he can't really stop them from pulling out flasks. So you spend quite a bit of time working on your martial prowess with the others in the hunt, and yeah, after a while you find that you are able to not only sort of avoid hits a little more. It is harder to hit you. You also find that you are, even when you are struck, you're able to kind of steel yourself a bit more and bounce back quickly from what would normally be a hit that might knock you low for a while. You actually can bounce back and get back into the fight quicker. That is a flavor way of saying your dex and constitution have gone up.
Yep.
There you go. Good teamwork. All right. Let's see. I think Oliette, you're next. What's something that Oliette learns at level 4 that is kind of nifty?
Well, I think. Do you want to know mechanically what I've done, or do you want me to?
You can hide it under flavor text.
Okay.
You want?
Okay. Then, yeah. Oliette is realizing that, in order to catch someone slippery, perhaps you have to get a little slippery yourself. So,
Okay.
I think I do spend a great deal of time with the Queen of the Word just because I missed her so much, and I like when people talk in riddles. It's refreshing.
Bluntness can be useful at times. Sometimes
Yeah,
a little bit of wit is helpful.
Subtlety that is just like, oh yes.
She does impress upon you that you really should write more. You should write to your mother more, Oliette.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That you needn't only write in dire situations. You will always have pages, so feel free to use them.
Yes, but I mean, there's something about being titillated, right? There's something about the not knowing everything.
I am your queen, so
Okay.
wanting more is not ideal.
Okay, you're right. I'll do like a really sarcastic curtsy. You're right.
Your Majesty.
But I think I will probably spend a fair amount of time kind of hanging around the docks and stuff, right around where the Queen of the Trade.
You spend any time with her, or just around her
Go
people?
back and visit at least once or twice, just because it's not lost on me that she's probably lonely. There's no champion coming home to visit her, so that wasn't something I missed. I just was on a mission that day. But I'll go back and see her once or twice. I don't really tell her what I'm doing, but I'll go back and hang out.
Yeah, you drink, you hang out. She makes good margaritas too. Tequila sunrises.
I can almost taste them.
Lots of froofy drinks with umbrellas in them. Lots of tropical drinks.
So good. I'm like, you should really get a Jago. The two of you would be unstoppable. Yeah, no, I think but I spend quite a bit of time near the docks, and I imagine there is a night in which I am probably asking too many questions to the wrong people.
Sure.
Who either have nefarious intent or just don't really like being prodded by someone
grumpy
they don't know, or trust. And so I imagine I find myself on the wrong end of a tavern scuffle. I don't know if a brawl is the right word, but maybe a sticky situation. And I don't have my friends to back me up, and I think there's like a moment in which perhaps I'm being cornered by several individuals.
Sure.
And in a panic, I am going to, like, not even consciously, just willing myself to not be there. And I will just open my eyes again and find myself on the other side of the room.
Okay.
And I'll say, stop, rest, and they're going to fall asleep.
Oh, shit.
And I'm going to dip.
All right. So they're just like, what?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. So you get a little bit of get some evasive spells and maybe a little bit of control on other people's. Thanks, Kyle. We really do. I need to redo the layout on the stream so that people can see your glory in the chat. All right. Very cool. That's very cool. I love that. And Paru, what do you gather from your training?
Paru does things a little differently this time around.
Okay.
She is very intrigued by Vinicosta and this idea that she's got this Fey ancestry.
Mhm.
So she digs a little deeper into that. And
Sure.
she becomes a little wiser. Not that she
Yeah.
already wasn't fairly wise, but she hones that just a slight bit more, a little bit more observant than she was before.
Yeah, the idea, again, that idea of seeing into the truth of things and of
Mhm.
people, more perceptive, being more just, observing things more, observing people, trying to understand them a bit. Yeah, I get you.
And tries to do a little bit more studying on the Baba Yaga and visits the Queen of the Word every now and again just to kind of brush up on stories and things that she might have heard.
I would say at some point you and Oliette and the Queen
Mhm.
have some chats about the Baba Yaga. I feel like
Yeah.
Oliette's vaguely interested in this as well.
Yeah.
At least she's kind of finding out what Paru's found out.
Mhm.
So sure. And I would say you all spend a little time together. It's a quick 2 weeks. It does not feel very long. You're all very busy and occasionally get together. But it goes by real quick.
So she manages to pick up a couple through this study. She manages to pick up a couple of spells that most druids can't cast. She picks up the ability to Misty Step out of Trouble's way when things get a little bit hairy.
Oliette's like, I can do this thing. And Pearl's like, I can do it too.
And she also learns how to direct the fury of the Baba Yaga when she is hit by hexing, directing hexes towards those that she are her marks.
A little bit of witchcraft.
Mhm.
I like it. That's very cool. The Costa are cool, y'all.
The Costa are very cool. She also manages to sneak along with Oliette one time to her trips to the docks, disguised as a rum gremlin. A little bit more of a powerful beast than she normally can sneak into. So she hangs out on the dock, basically intoxicating people with her general aura as she just hangs out.
Incredible. You have like almost like a heat thing, but it's more just like near gasoline.
Pretty much.
Like
this little like
God. So many fewer calories.
I
literally can make Oliette drunk without drinking anything.
Oh, this is the best day.
Okay.
If you want a tiny, chaotic, evil beast hanging around with you.
That's all I've ever wanted.
Okay. So that's what Paru learns.
Yes, Harland.
Harlan did have one thing that he wanted to do. I think during the couple weeks he realized that he realized something and he needed to address it. And
to
so
whom
he
address it?
he went he goes and he finds Oliette.
Okay. Do you go seek her out rather than Okay. So Oliette, where does Oliette on average she's with the Queen of the Word, right?
Yes, sure. Yes.
Sure. So let's say that you're in her study or something, and Harland, you ask the Queen of the Folk to give you, like, can I get a ride? And she sends you to the Queen of the Word, and you are in her throne room, and you see the little doorway to the study near the fireplace. Queen of the Word's not there. She's with her wife or something.
The
old ball and chain, ball and vine.
Am I intruding? Can I come in?
Yeah, you can. What are you doing here? It's kind of far, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I was coming to see you. I wanted to talk to you about something.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, sure. I'll just put the books away. I'm sure I'm either digging about something for me or looking for something for Paru, or I'll just put my stuff away.
Is that a good one?
Well, hopefully if I get through it and it's useful, then we could call it good.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna cut straight to the point. I don't. I'm not going to uh, prevapicate or around it. Uh, so I was thinking over the last couple weeks, you know, I came to a realization, and I realized that there's something that I need from you, and I wanted to ask, just point blank, just get it out there in the open. I feel like a piece of me is missing. Like I don't have something that other people have, and I think it is detrimental to my ability to perform like other people do. I was hoping that you might be amenable to teaching me to read.
Um, of of course I'll help you. That was always on the table. I offered way back when I was teaching Besa.
I, well, yeah, but I got that, that pride, and I didn't think I needed it, and other things were calling my attention, and well, you just you're so astute, and you got all that, I can't tell what you're writing, but I like the way it looks, and
Okay. Oh man, hold on.
My heart is exploding right now. That was like the sweetest thing ever. I can't tell what you're writing, but I like the way. Oh my god!
That is the dumbest, sweetest thing I've ever heard.
Yep.
Okay.
read Mark.
That, ladies and gentlemen and friends, is how you play a low intelligence, high charisma character.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, whew.
I think instead of responding, I will just grab like an empty notebook, whatever I've been scribbling in.
There's
I'll probably flip past the horrifying page
Yeah.
with stuff on it for now. We'll come back to that. I'll flip a few pages to a blank one, and in very big, very neat, like teacher neat letters, I'll just spell out, "Let's start here." And I'll wave them over. Okay,
Very
so
place to start.
yeah, and that's kind of I'm not gonna bore all of you with teaching phonetics, but I would like to basically start with
Critical Role? No. We don't need that. Oh my god.
simple
Kyle.
stuff.
You're First thing we're gonna teach you how to hold your pen.
No, you don't have to. You're not trying to stab it. You're trying to just. It's very put it between.
It's a tool, not a weapon.
It's
Well, maybe if I can see you do it, maybe that would, maybe I could copy it that way.
okay. And I'll just take it.
Yeah,
Show you how to do it. Real slow.
Are you paying attention?
Like that.
That's excellent. That is excellent. Yes.
All right. That feel okay. That's kind of strange.
It'll come with practice. It's like, what I don't know what the equivalent is here. I was gonna say getting on a horse, but I think Baze is the only one that talks with steeds. So
I've been a horse. Does that count?
As long as you're teaching me, I'm sure that I will enjoy the ride.
Solara, yeah, you will.
I think I'll have to actively hide a smirk on that one. Oh, yeah, well,
Gotta love the ones that set you up, even though they have no idea what they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll do that. We'll start there.
All right. So you start teaching him how to read. Do you know how far into the 2 weeks that is, Harlan? Do you get a little time to actually do that a bit? Or is
Yeah.
it like near the end and you don't have much time to actually like practice very much?
During the second week.
Okay. So
Like 10
you get a
days
little
in, so
bit.
maybe 3 or 4 days.
Sure. So you get a few lessons in. As the 2 weeks start wrapping, you are brought back in front of the queens. And
Before the 2 weeks is up, the last thing that I would do is probably, as I know it's like going to be the next day or the day after, I would probably try to get all 4 of us together.
Okay.
Just
go
to
ahead.
talk about what I found in the cave.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
especially we don't know what we're going back to. And so I haven't really put all the pieces together, but I feel like we're onto something. So I will just call everybody together.
Put your heads together.
Yeah.
Okay. Is anything anybody want to talk out after you hear everything that Oliette? Do you tell them everything? Is there anything you leave out?
I don't think so. No.
So, upon hearing everything that Oliette experienced, finding the caves that seemed to indicate her discussion with the queen of the trade, and the evidence that Villain was spending some of their time in these caves, these caverns south of that area. Also, maybe the queen of the trade discussing that they were kind of lonely during their training, that kind of thing. And then the image, the idea of the black ink dagger marks in the wall, and then Oliette shows you the sketch of the circle and the open book and the screaming face and the ink drips that were still wet when she was in the cave.
Oliette, you said that there was like this black powder inside the weird looking scratches?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. At first I thought it might have been dried blood, but it didn't really, I don't know. I didn't check hard enough, maybe. There was a lot going on.
Oliette, I would say you probably intuit a little bit that it is possibly dried ink.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Like there was scratches in the ground, like someone was kneeling, like they were drugged toward it, maybe, or kneeling. Like I have this image now of him kneeling there, being drugged into this thing that he discovered unwillingly and unknowingly, and maybe that's why he's I want to believe that he's fighting, and I don't.
Would that line up with what Paro was saying, that they were being dragged backwards towards?
It looked like someone was kneeling at the drawing, and the scratch marks were sort of, it kind of just seemed like distress, like
Perhaps
sort of
someone in pain.
Yeah, that yeah.
Maybe we should revisit the cave and see if that ink is still wet.
Yeah.
Just so you know, the music in your head's going to change as soon as you get there. It's not good.
It's very creepy.
It's horrifying.
Like right now, it's almost as if the folder's been put there.
I want to get a good look at Villain's black dagger thing.
Or
why it was black, because I know that sometimes when you sharpen a blade against a stone, you get some powdery debris off of the blade.
Oh God.
Oliette, you got close. It seemed like almost obsidian, the blade that Villain was using. Paro.
That was her reaction.
Oh, okay.
That was just her thought to Base's thing, was just, oh God.
Okay.
There's something about the dagger. It's those illusions or specters or whatever that was. at their exhibition. It has something to do with...
It was really weird.
None of it was taught to them by the Queen of the Trade. She said that they learned that somewhere else.
Ooh,
I
don't
mean,
like that.
well, in terms of his moves and his fighting skills, it was a lot like some of the stuff that the hunters teach. And he did spend a lot of time learning how to fight there with me. So that part may not have been something creepy, but what I'm wondering, this is just me guessing, but I know that some of the creatures I hunted with the Queen of the Hunt, if they were in the sea, sometimes the tides would affect where they were swimming. And didn't the King of the Wood get burned out on the ocean? So what if the black dagger floated back? Could Valena found it in one of those ocean caves you were looking in?
I don't know. There's, at this point, there's no theory that seems totally impossible. None of this is... If you want to see the caves, I'll take you there, but it's not pleasant.
I think, as much as I don't want to go, I think that maybe seeing it is important. Just so we can recognize.
Okay. I'm going to, in this book, I'm going to very carefully rip out the page that I've started with Harland and our letters and stuff.
Mhm.
And I'll tuck those away, and I'll throw the rest of the book in the fire that has the sketch in it.
Okay.
I don't want to keep it with me.
You throw it into the fireplace of whatever. I assume you're in Her Majesty the Word.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're in the study. Question. If you go back to the caves, are you going via the thrones or are you going to travel by foot?
I was gonna suggest that if Sigrun would be willing to take us.
Okay, sure.
Because...
Is that the big... Or
Yeah.
whatever
Raven.
Yeah.
Oh my
Raven.
god.
So,
If
you
she'd be
go-
willing, because then she could also report back to their majesties.
If we just let
So-
me get murdered.
So we're going to just, for simplification's sake, you ask Her Majesty of the Word if she could summon Sigrun. Or
Sigfrin.
Sigfrin?
Sigfrin.
Sigfrin. Thank
Yeah.
you, Sigfrin. And she nods. And a few moments pass as she writes something in her tome at the center pillar in the middle of the room. And from the fog above, you watch as giant black wings descend, and the very large form of Sigfrin, the great raven, hits the ground. And with these sort of beady eyes, she kind of looks at all of you. Can I help you?
You want to cause some trouble?
Always. What did you have in mind?
She'll kind of gesture to Oliet. She found something interesting.
I have to get to the caves on the southern coast.
You want to ride?
Please.
Transportation, please.
Book mommy, I need an Uber, please.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Book
okay.
mommy, I need an Uber, please.
Can every okay, Paru and Oliet
Fall
are
off
both
a
trying to
cliff.
convince her. No, they're both trying to convince Sigfrin. Oliet, make a persuasion check with advantage since Paru is assisting.
Persuasion. Okay, that's a decent. Okay. Oh, 21.
21. Sigfrin's like, this better be a lot of trouble.
Oh, it's a lot.
Very well.
Plus, that means you get to see things few on this island, or few on this plane ever do.
I already do, dear. But
Plus,
I understand the enticement. he doesn't get to ride on my back. Too heavy. And you watch as she kind of scrapes the ground a little bit. Right here, Holland. Oh, and Beza. Beza too.
I was gonna say, I think Beza probably
Those two don't get to ride on my back.
That's fine.
Well, I'll let Paru ride in front since she's so much smaller. That would be probably a little safer.
And it would be rude to block her view.
I mean, I guess.
I guess there is the other view to consider.
There is
but...
other things to look at, I suppose.
Fucking hell. Anyway,
I've
so
seen
Regina
you get
George
done more
sits
than
behind
one
Paru. So Regina George sits behind Paru, and Sigfrin gets up when you both get on her back, and you get a little scraping to come forward. And Beza and Harland, as soon as Sigfrin takes flight with a flap of her wings, she scoops you both up, and you both get flown to Lothric Castle. No, sorry.
I apologize for my cats yowling in the background.
And you all get carried towards the coastline. It does not take very long as she ascends into the fog, and you break the fog, and you are flying through clouds for quite a while. Eventually, you descend and find yourself. The sun hits you a little bit, and she is flying you towards the coast, eventually making a wide turn to sail down. You all see the port town of Her Majesty of the Trade, the big sails of the ships, some of them coming into port, some of them leaving. And she, Oliette, you are in charge of telling her when to stop or when to start descending. And it doesn't take long for you to see the big cliffs and some familiar shapes. And you sort of tap or whatever you need to do to get her attention. And she sails on down towards the beach. And you're all left on the coast. Sigfrin just waits, kind of waddles towards the water and looks like she's picking fish out of the ocean. It's very big.
Sigfrin, I can volunteer some assistance with that if you wish.
Oh, I wouldn't say no.
You ever wanted to? You ever seen a fish get struck by a bolt of lightning?
Not offhand. Is it fun?
You want to strike some fish with lightning?
Yes, please.
Oh my god.
All right. Now, what's the word? And he'll take a swig of.
I'm backing all of us up. Like the rest of us are like, nope, 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 nope.
A bite of chili pepper. Yeah. What's the word? And he'll like tap her beak. Thunderbird. And
You want her to say Thunderbird? Or
just go ahead. Just do your thing. You got a minute.
she opens her mouth, and you just watch all this lightning spewing out of her mouth. And for a second, you see her kind of like back up a little and like flap her wings, and you realize that it's more in like fucking triumph. Like, this is so metal, not in fear. And you just watch it like kind of sail up like a fucking spotlight of lightning up into the sky, but then she sort of stops and like brings out into the ocean, and like the worst kind of environmental impact fishing, just you see a shark. She's excited now. What did you want? She just spewed the one direction. Electrocuted in a full line. And she just like she's completely engrossed with the idea of she actually kind of looks up and she breaks into the sky and just like fucking whatever Gameron, whoever fights Godzilla. I I didn't think Gamora because I was like, isn't that Guardians of the Galaxy? Maybe it is. Anyway, so yeah, she's clearly having some fun. Being like, I'm a fucking dragon.
Y'all, we should head out. We only got about 45 seconds left before she runs out, and I don't want her to decide that we are a worthwhile target. So let's.
She's not
we
gonna
don't
do
have
that.
Yeah, Far's pretty confident that she's not going to try to electrocute you.
Oh,
She'd get
she'll be
she'd
fine.
get in
She got a whole
trouble.
shark. It'll take her a while.
Yeah,
she's not gonna.
She'd get in trouble if she
she'll
did.
be busy.
The shark
Yeah,
is
I
smaller
will
than
lead
you.
them to the caves.
So you lead them to specifically
Just the one, just the ladder.
creepy
The,
cave.
yeah,
Yeah.
the terrifying
the
nightmare
cave that changes the music.
Yeah.
So you get to the cave. You started it. So yeah, you all arrive in this cave. You see everything that Oliette described, including a campsite. A couple of you recognize the scraping on the ground near the fire, which is clearly like I said, something that Villain tended to do when they were bored, just sort of scraping with their little switch knife. And yeah, so what do? You have access to this drawing. You see all the line work, and you take that backup step. Oliette has you like back up to see what's.
The ink's still wet.
You go up to touch it, and yeah, there's a couple of drips here and there that are wet. You pull back, and there's just black ink on your fingers, kind of stains.
Does it look like it's drying though?
Yeah, a little bit, not much. Maybe the streak, but there's still a droplet that's slowly going down, very slowly.
Can I look at the scrapes on the ground that don't look like they came from his switchblade?
Sure.
And try to see if it looks like something that could have come from the black dagger.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Give me a perception check. Sorry.
But I rolled an 18.
Hey. So you look and you kind of scrape some of that, and I mean, you with your skin being that sort of alabaster stone, you get a nice high contrast. You get some of the powder on your hand, and you kind of spread it out a little bit, and you look at it and study it, and you think about a little bit what Oliette was saying about the ink, and you go get some water out of the ocean. And you put a couple of droplets on your hand. You watch as the powder sort of absorbs that water and starts dripping like ink. So you suspect that it's dried ink in the cut mark. Oliette, give me an investigation check.
Can I assist and give her guidance?
Sure.
With that,
you're all thinking about.
Paru
all talking things out.
Paru takes a strand of her hair and cuts it and wraps it around Oliette's wrist to use.
So you add a D4 to your investigation check, Oliette, if you would like.
Okay, so that's 24.
24. So the way, just for y'all's knowledge, I adjudicate now, after doing a little bit of reading, perception is your attempt to notice physical details. Investigation is like what Sherlock Holmes does. Take all the information that you have collected with those, say, perception checks and deducing what you're trying to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have a passive investigation, and that passive investigation is like, I will give you information because you're smart enough to figure it out. That is kind of that's what those two skills are going to be used for.
Okay.
So with a 24 investigation, Oliette, so confirming, at least by the looks of it, that the scrapes are filled with dried ink from this blade. Thinking about the blade sort of looking in that obsidian. Now, given what you know, or given what happened with Villain, you think a little bit back to the library when you first got back. The hand, the gargoyle gauntlet, on the ground and how he stabbed it and it turned into ink and it seeped into the dagger. Think a little bit that maybe it's not made of obsidian. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's ink. Maybe crystallized or transmuted in some way.
Could I, am I drawing? Okay. Am I inferring that when he stabbed this gauntlet, something transferred out of the gauntlet into his blade?
You see all of these things around. You see the sketching on the wall. You see the scraping on the floor. Are you concerned that the gauntlet is what turned him?
I don't think so. I think that there is something. So Alia, based on all these clues, is thinking there is something about the magic or whatever that surrounds that gauntlet that now is influencing Verlaine. I don't think it's the gauntlet itself. I think it's perhaps who has manipulated or is operating or set it free. She's starting to think there might be a link there.
As of right now, that's a fair thing to think. But you also see what's going on, or what you're not seeing here in the cave, and whatever was happening with Verlaine seems to have been happening before that. A while before that. The gauntlet might just be one aspect. The gauntlet might just be something he absorbed with the knife. It might just be a detail.
Like the Lord's ability to write and rewrite the world.
He did stab a book and make a dragon.
So if the gauntlet was something he created using the dagger that potentially was influenced somehow by the Lord of Tales, he took the gauntlet and created a dragon instead, rewriting it.
That's a thought. At this point, Oliette has a good point. Anything is a valid theory. But you're all circling around similar themes here. That the Lord of Tales has some sort of influence in this circumstance, and Verlaine's wrapped up in it, whether voluntarily or not.
I like to believe involuntarily, but how do we know? If it was the dagger, maybe something he found and it brought him here unknowingly of his own influence. I want to believe that. Know.
Well, I mean, what if we're thinking about this kind of backwards? What if, I mean, we know that the ink is part of it. We know that the ink is doing something, but how do you get ink stains out of clothes? How do you get ink stains out of something? Maybe we focus there on cleaning it up somehow. Like putting sand on it or something.
Well, sand dries it. Are you talking about us throwing soap and water on the wall?
I'm at on Verlaine. Maybe if we give him a good scrubbing, he'll be all right.
He's only got the one eye. You only have to hit one.
Oh my god.
I mean, if the dagger is having some sort of effect on him, maybe if we break the dagger?
We'd have to find them first.
That's the tricky part.
Oh. Tracking is something.
I'm all for giving him a good scrubbing though.
What if we try to scrub some of this? Pyro takes a little bit of water and does go over to the wall and just tries very cautiously to wash some of the ink away to like maybe.
How much water do you use? Like, what do you just like get like your fingertips wet and you're trying to like scrub a little bit?
No, I'm thinking like she gets a bit of cloth and dunks it in the ocean and starts like actually.
Big swatch of water.
Yeah.
Okay. You start rubbing, and the ink powder starts hydrating and dripping. You just have like streaks of black going down the wall and you're trying to scrub it out. And the water starts like seeping a little bit outside where you're scrubbing and starts following the knife trail, and the ink just starts hydrating all down the shape.
I stop.
Everything starts dripping black.
That was
some sand.
It just looks like it's just eyes and mouth and nose are just weeping black ink. Looks even more disturbing now.
Siegfried, have you ever seen anything like this?
The raven pokes her head. Oh, I wasn't nosing.
What?
What are you talking about?
I had intended to get your opinion.
She kind of like cranes her neck and her eyes go a little wide. What have you all found?
This was Verlaine's hiding space, and I think he found it.
I don't like this.
Neither do we.
Shouldn't be here. This is not... You've never seen Siegfried afraid.
That's enough of a cue for me to GTFO.
We should leave now. We should tell their majesties.
I mean, not... maybe we dry this out as best possible before we go.
So I wouldn't touch any of it.
Well, no, you throw some dirt at it. You know, it's like
maybe fire.
Shovel it up there.
Fire. I
she
can
kind
do.
of she says sort of like bitterly.
Fire we can do.
Fire might damage more than we intend to, though.
It's a cave, Harland. What's it gonna do? Be hot rock?
Well, yeah.
Paru casts a very hot spell. And where'd it go? I had it a second ago and it disappeared on me. She casts, where the frick did you go? Produce flame, and begins to, kind of hurl it at the wall to dry it.
I mean, you're drying, you see the ink sort of caking onto the wall. Does anybody have anything flammable?
I got Uncle Charlie's moonshine.
Nothing's happening other than drying it. I mean, if that's what you're trying to do.
Well, I kind of want to burn it away, but yeah.
Okay. We should go. It's not going to burn away the carving itself.
Oh, that's what it was. A little bit of frustration. Paru drops the fire that she's holding and just turns it into a flaming sphere and just holds it against the wall.
This flaming vortex orb of flame and flaming flame, yeah, whatever. It hugs the wall and you just slowly move it and you watch it kind of trace very roughly the shape. And it takes a moment and you start seeing sparks like as it starts burning.
If
there's a
he
violet
is the ink itself, I'd rather burn that away. The carving
violet
remain, but the ink won't.
This orb, as it circles around the shape, like I said, you see this violet flame start licking the sides of the orb in the path of the ink, and then the violet turns black, almost opaque. Still flame, but a void. You keep going.
Sigrun, do I stop or keep going? This seems not particular.
Never done this before, dear. I don't know.
My only thought is you're the only one who's actually dealt with him before.
Not something I soon remember.
I understand. She's like sweating a little bit.
Keep going?
Yeah, she keeps going.
The flames still licking up the side of the orb in this black void of flame, and you continue following the face, and you go over its eyes and its mouth and the side of it, and
Haru just kind of hisses at it. You have no power here anymore. Be gone. As she's burning it.
it takes a little bit of effort, and it's a little violent. Near the end, there's smoke. Smells noxious. You cover your mouths at it. It's just... There is a slight pressure, Paru, to finish what you're doing in your brain. Just a slight hesitance. Make a charisma save.
That should be interesting. 18.
You push past that little moment of fear. There's this little inching fear in the back of your head of like, oh God, what if this is the wrong thing? What if this ruins everything? What if this makes him come back? Oh God. And you sort of push those things back. It's irrational. It doesn't make sense. You continue pushing the flaming sphere. And just with this final sizzle of smoke, the flaming sphere passes the last bit of the ink, and you're left with the carving on the wall. Not quite as terrifying, still unsettling, but not outlined in ink anymore, not dripping anymore. Are you all satisfied now? Shall we go?
Yep.
Yes, please.
Go scarf right off.
And she kind of, Sigfrin just sort of shakes off her feathers and steps out of the doorway so you can all get back onto the beach.
All right, let's go.
There are fish and shark carcasses on the beach, half eaten by a beak. Thanks to Harlan's gift of lightning dragon breath for Sigfrin for that little fishing expedition, and she's very she's very concerned. You see her feathers are a little ruffled at the like at the back of her neck. We should depart then.
Yes.
For what it's worth, I am sorry that you just
You can apologize later, Harland.
Right. Oh, okay.
And she crouches down so that Aliet and Paru can climb up. And very, very shortly after you take a seat, you barely have time to kind of adjust yourself. She flaps up and takes flight, grabs Beza and Harland in a slightly less delicate manner, and flies off. It is tense and quiet as she flies you back towards Her Majesty of the Words temple, I guess. I hadn't really named what she had as her library. It's her library. And you all end up back there. You discuss things with the queens. Do you tell them about all of this? I mean, Sigfrin certainly is going to if you don't.
Oh, that was Paru's plan with bringing Sigfrin along, was so that there was another pair of eyes beside ours.
So you all gather the queens. They all attend. And you tell them what you saw. Her Majesty of the Trade is staring very intently at the floor through all of this, sort of chewing on a thumb. thinking. Almost trying to, you assume, sort of teasing out how this could have happened. And the other queens just... Not Her Majesty the Word speaks up. Not that we did not assume he would return, but it is unsettling to know how close he was to our shores. And not just, she looks up, just in the ether waiting. Her Majesty of Beauty speaks. And however, she looks to each of you. Whatever your
She
image,
looks just like me.
Oh my god.
She's me with a crown.
Oh god.
I'm like, oh
God.
god, how did I miss her?
Well, now I really want to know this. Okay, so Olliette sees herself. Has she changed at all for Harland? Or is she still that folksy, that beautiful folksy woman with like freckles and overalls?
I think yes, that they're still like that, like strong. Like she's
Sure. She's still a woman of the land.
Right. But you know, she might have a little bit of her canines might be her lower, teeth
She's
might
got
be just a
tusks.
tiny bit bigger, and
Oh my god.
you
I adore her.
her clothes might be a little bit more refined.
Okay.
Put together, and
Harland's got a lot of, his heart's going in a couple places.
Harland is
hair might
very
be a slightly different tinge.
What does it look like? What does she look like to Paro? We never asked that.
Um,
Sorry, we really got off topic here. I'm all about finding
No,
out
it's
what Her
okay.
Majesty of Beauty is like.
um,
Fuck you, Chris. Oh my god.
so
So good.
for Paru, she's got these deep green kind of skin tones up towards the her temples going into her hair, and then these huge arched not quite minotaur, but they're more ram-like,
Okay,
kind of
sure.
going in, very long lashes, and then just this smattering of green mushrooms and ivy, kind of all and moss, creating
she's
these.
sort of a nature goddess.
She's
kind
based
of
like
vibe.
a full nature goddess vibe.
I
Very,
love that.
Dirt.
Even
dirty
more than Her
hands.
Majesty, who
Yeah.
is a little more understated.
Yeah.
Comparatively, that's saying a lot. Okay,
Here,
I love
will
that.
Share the. Well, I had this prepared because I.
Because we brought this up before, and your brain goes to Pinterest.
Yeah, there we are.
Aw, thank you for sharing.
There you go.
You can.
I will.
Let's see. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Anyway,
I will share in chat. This is what she
Oh,
says.
go ahead.
Although I
So
do
Her
love
Majesty-
that it looks like herself for Leanne. It's amazing.
so you all see Her Majesty of Beauty and in her seat. We knew he was there, but we did not know how close. I am sorry. I have apparently failed in my one task. And Her Majesty of the Vine, no one is saying that.
Was that Trade or Beauty that said that?
It was Beauty. She was the one who set him on fire. It went.
I mean,
Trade set his body out, and Beauty set him aflame.
I mean, not to be contrary, but you did set him on fire on top of water. That
Trade looks, as have plenty of civilizations before.
I don't understand
She's a
how that.
moderately proven method boy. She gets a little Kesty.
I did say I didn't mean to be contrary. I apologize, man.
Pat Harland on the arm, like.
Don't upset the boat goddess. About boats.
Matter,
boat.
matter can be destroyed. Energy cannot. In the end, we all return to something.
Well, we were hoping oblivion, said Her Majesty of the Vine.
To be fair to everyone, we also don't know if he put any of his energy or resistance or anything into something before he fought you guys.
Oh, don't Horcrux me, Heather. No, it's fine. No, that's fair. It's fair. It's fair.
No,
Phylacteries.
Her Majesty.
My point in
Her
saying
Majesty
what I
of the
did was that no one has failed at anything.
Yet, says Her Majesty of the Word, which is why we brought you here in the first place.
Exactly. Just because our task is not done does not mean that anyone has failed at their own.
You should return sooner rather than we thought.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we have time to waste.
Are y'all gonna be safe here?
They're quiet. None of us are safe until you figure out what's going on.
Valid point. Whoa. Kick it in the...
We will do what we can from here.
Hoping that the burned away ink at least stops his influence for a bit.
Her Majesty of Trade speaks up and says, I will reach out with what paths I have to communicate outside of our realm and see what can be discovered.
Do you know where he got the dagger? That black dagger that he was using. Do we know where he got it?
Whoever Lane got it.
Yes.
And she thinks, I was not with him when he received it.
That's what I was afraid of.
Tell you where we got it from?
He did not speak to me of whatever circumstances resulted in him having it.
Paro describes him stabbing the gauntlet and creating the dragon. My worry
Majesty of the Word
is that he's writing
listens.
and rewriting. Just like the Lord of Tales did, and maybe, somehow, that dagger is what linked him. Not purposely. At least I hope. I'd like to believe it wasn't purposeful.
I mean, if Elaine found a really awesome looking dagger, you would have picked up the really awesome looking dagger.
I do agree with that.
Her Majesty of the Hunt sort of grasps the side of her throne. He was right in front of us. His influence right in front of us again. She's notably a little bitter, given that she also dealt with his influence. Were we not to be careful after what happened to me? And Her Majesty the Word calms, like, blame is unproductive in this moment. I know we promised you more time, even a few days, but I think it is probably best if we send you back.
I understand.
I wish it could have been under better circumstances. And I wish you could be returning to better circumstances.
Well, I mean, we are better equipped to handle whatever it is we're going to be running into. So, thanks for that.
Her Majesty of the Folk kind of smiles. I hope so, love.
You
Her
haven't,
Majesty.
you,
Oh, go ahead.
you haven't failed us yet.
Her Majesty of Beauty is still a little quiet, a little sad.
Don't
And Her
see you
Majesty
doing it anytime soon.
When Her Majesty of Trade stands, the Triton woman, she stands next to Her Majesty of the Word, and they both approach the book. Oh, we'll send you on your way then.
Hopefully there's still some of your champion in there, because I will fight for him.
Be wary. I cannot guarantee how much is left. And she looks a little resigned.
We know.
And Her Majesty of Word opens the book, the tome, on the pedestal.
Paru lays a hand on the Queen of the Trade's hand for a moment and looks up at her and goes, "Even the flowers that fade in the fall merely sleep until winter and return in spring. As long as there is a hint, there is life."
She squeezes your hand. I hope you're right.
Me too.
We'll help us learn how to fight. We're not gonna not fight for our friend.
Wouldn't expect anything else, says Her Majesty of the Vine. And they all see you off. You, you have a moment of sort of farewell, and you are sent back. A moment. You all feel that sensation of falling.
Right as she is like, because we've seen this process before, so we're aware of like how, I don't know if we as players know if it's a spell or what, or if it's just like some kind of ritual.
It's fey magic. It's a little bit of both.
It's everything. It's all of it. Okay.
Yeah, it's unknowable and ineffable.
Okay.
But do you do something?
Yeah, I think Oliet really hasn't left. Like, my gaze has not, besides that banging tiefling queen that I didn't even know was in here,
Yeah,
tearing my gaze away from her.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, my gaze has not left the Queen of the Word's face, and I just have like, please don't make me go, all over my face. And I think at the very last second, as she's finishing it, I will reach for Harland and grab his hand right before we get pulled.
There is a bit of it. There's a hint of a moment, Oliet, as she's reading from the book and sees your face. And you feel that sensation, that fall. And when you sort of wake up, you're each where you were when you were taken. On the bed, or standing up, or sitting on the edge of your own bed. And there is still cacophony of the sounds of violence outside.
Cat, we've got company.
Already on it.
Perfect.
You watch as Cat hops by the door with her boot, like getting her boot on. And we're gonna cut ahead just a little bit. you all get equipped. You all prep, however it is you're going to prep. And you are following the sounds of roaring violence. You're following the sounds of fire, which is loud, as a reminder. Things on fire is loud. You follow the sounds of what, for a moment, sounds like hooting or howling or chatter. And as you... This was a much better song to have at the end here. And as you kind of make your way through the streets, Kat there with her, what did she have? She had some sort of great weapon. It's fine. I'll think about it later.
It was a great sword, I think.
Yeah, you see that Raffida is hanging out. She's sort of half conscious with a pair of scimitars. The whole troop, Kat and all of her entourage are there behind you. So is Jago. He has an unsettling butcher knife. It's very unsettling. You're like, you were cooking something and now you're not. I'm afraid. And you head towards the sounds. You get closer and you turn a corner at one point and you see flames. You see people running. You see a few bodies on the ground. And you look around and see not goblins. Well, you see goblins and orcs and such. But the things that are causing this are very much not. You see massive, they're humanoid sized. Creatures with fur and snouts hunched, sort of shaggy, spiky tufts of hair, holding weapons, their feet a little pointed, almost like a dog on their hind feet. Their massive jaws of fangs, glowing eyes. Cat kind of looks around, is like, what the fuck kind of gnolls are these? And in the flames, you see that you were seeing an outline. You were seeing shades. And they're not made of fur. They're made of paper. There's words traveling all along their faces and bodies. They're like the dragon. They're like the tree creature, but it's a little army of them. Little strike force. And you see them sort of spreading out, and Kat's just counting, and she's getting ready to... Yes, Autumn. Yes, that's what they're called now. Or wolves. And as you hear some screaming and another sort of collapse of a storefront, some market stalls getting knocked over by some of these creatures, you see a non-gnoll figure stepping into the sort of clearing of the marketplace in dark leather and shaka white hair. You see a eye patch. You see in one hand a black obsidian-like dagger. But on the hand, you see a metallic gauntlet with massive claws. Only half there, though. Sort of just the fist of it. You see a little bit of black veining, black ink going up where the rest of the gauntlet might be. and just sort of surveying everything. You see Villain, and his eyes just sort of fall to all of you. And that's where we're going to end the session. Fuck that musical cue, man. Fuck.
It was good. The music was on point.
I hate it. I hate it.
I hate it.
I hate it.
Oh. All right, everybody. End of chapter 15. Just a simple level up episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Simple.
Great. Fine. It's
Simple.
fine. You guys learned a lot of shit today. I think you learned a lot of shit today. All right, everybody. That was our session.
Woof.
Session 15 of Shenanigoons, the Book of Fables. We are here every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. We will see you here, bright and bushy-tailed, next Tuesday to continue our story. I know I'm going to get yelled at by a couple people in chat when I leave tonight.
I was.
But I don't apologize. I don't apologize.
You shouldn't apologize. It was very good.
You all are amazing. Players, you are all incredible. I love playing with you every week. You as our amazing audience, thank you for continuing to come hang out with us. Thank you so much to all of our raiders this week. Especially Perception Studios, a huge chunk of you have stayed for the rest of the show.
Yes,
so thank you so much for hanging out for our episode. We would love to continue entertaining you next week if you'd like to join us. You can follow us here on Twitch or on Twitter, also at We Are Nerdsmith. And you can find out way more information about us. That's not a code, apparently. I gotta fix that. But you can find out more about us. If you like the show and you want to help support us, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/nerdsmith. And thank you so much to our sponsors, Eldritch Foundry, the really beautifully well done fantasy miniature designer that you can get 3D printed and digital copies. You should definitely check them out. You can use our code there, and if you buy anything, that's helping support us at the network and helping us keep the show going. Also, thank you so much to World Anvil, a longtime supporter of the network and good friends of ours that we absolutely adore and respect and cherish. They're an amazing creative community of world builders that are authors and role players and GMs and anyone who might need to create a repository of knowledge for their stories. You can find that at World Anvil. And also to Die Hard Dice, who we are spotlighting this month with their Mythica Aquamarine.
Yes.
Aquamarine set, of which there is some in my household right now, and they're freaking beautiful. If you use our link is in the chat, and if you use the code nerdsmith-FEB as in February, you'll get 10% off your total purchase, and you should definitely consider getting those beautiful dice.
Come back on the 23rd for a chance to win this set.
Put it in your calendar right now. We will continue promoting it, that on the 23rd, that is one of our game nights, you can win a pretty set of these aquamarine dice. In fact, I believe that pretty set of aquamarine dice will be sent to you.
Very nicely. I might even bless them for you.
Ooh, there you go. Blessed by our very own Nakosta. Thank you all so much for joining us. This was a blast of a night. There was a lot to get through, and you're all now level 4. Woo! I love how slow our game is actually in terms of leveling. You guys get a lot done for very little number crunching, which hopefully bodes well for the longevity of our campaign here. But you're all amazing. Please join us here next week. I am here tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for Discover RPG. Sadly, my friends and I finished our run of Chicken Police. Though I really do want to buy the full game now, so I might get it. With a little bit of support for the show, I will be able to afford to get that game. We'll see what happens. But we tend to get together and role play, voice act, fun narrative video games and other things. I might have some stuff to talk about. And yeah, so please join me for just a fun little hour tomorrow night, kicking around and hanging out and chat. And then again, we are here next week on Tuesday for Shenanigoons, chapter 16, name to be determined. I want to call it werewolves, but I don't think that captures
quite the amount of horror.
Let's call it reunion.
Oof. All right. You got it.
Sorry. And to Claire de Lune, I say goodnight. Please, all of you have a wonderful rest of your night or morning, depending on what time zone you're in. Have a great week. Be safe, be smart, make good choices. And above all, please, please do us a favor and be good to each other. All right. Good night, everybody. To be continued.